Thank you, Board President.
Did you make me call you that at home?
Mr. President.
The time is 5:53, and this is a workshop, a night workshop for the City of Weslaco and Weslaco Independent School District. We're coming together and brainstorming and have several projects that get kicked around by both the city and the district, and in an effort to come together with what's most beneficial to all of our students and our citizens and our taxpayers in Weslaco. We are coming together to work this out, get our minds, not make any decisions today, exchange ideas, and come back together in the very near future to make that decision. I want to recognize our Mayor, David Suarez, City of Weslaco. Mayor, will he be also here in part for our Precinct 1 Commissioner, David Fuentes?
Yes, sir. He was going to try to make it. He had another part coming, but he said to let you know he's going to.
I appreciate that. And we look forward to working also with the counties. I know that we've been meeting our superintendent, Dr. Canales, has been meeting with our city manager a couple of times here in the past history. Anyway, they've been meeting and trying to get some things together for us to decide, and that's why we're here. That being said, I want to welcome everybody again and give us a quick, brief time to introduce each other. The elected officials sitting at the table, if you all will just starting at my left.
If I will, let me just call someone should call the workshop to order for the city. And
go ahead.
It's 5:55. Closing to order. This is a meeting of the workshop in order for the Weslaco City Commission as required by law. The City Secretary publicly posted a notice of the workshop meeting. The date is Tuesday, January 9th, 2018. The purpose of this workshop is to discuss the agendas prepared and presented and hereby discuss about any formalities. At St. Paul was an announcement, there was a special meeting that was also posted. We will be canceling the special meeting and we'll address that item on the special meeting for the commission meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Let's start our introduction to my left and go around the table. Our elected officials are here today, starting with Mayor Suarez.
Good evening. My name is David Suarez, Mayor of the City of Weslaco. It's a pleasure and honor to be here.
Good evening, Jaime Rodriguez, School Board Trustee.
Isidoro Rieno, School Board Trustee. JP Rodriguez, Weslaco City Commissioner for District 3. It's an honor to be here. Greg Kerr, City Commissioner, Weslaco, District 2.
Joshua Pedraza, City Commissioner for Weslaco. I think there's a mic. City Commissioner for Weslaco, District 6, and it's my honor to be here.
Andrew Gonzalez, School Board Trustee.
Rio Munoz, City District Commissioner of District 1. I'm looking forward to some collective thought, thinking, and working together as one city, one school district.
Dr. Raul Cantu, Principal at Weslaco East High School.
And Oscar Lopez, Director of Athletics for Weslaco ISD.
Eric Garza, Director of Maintenance and Land Management for Weslaco ISD.
Edma Carvillo, Director of Library Services for the district, not Mr. Regis.
Amelba Tijerina, I wasn't elected, I was selected. And I'm the Culinary Arts Instructor for the district.
Good evening. I'm Sandra Avila, Director for Career and Technical Education. Yvette Morales, Weslaco High School Principal.
John Garlic, B. Garza, Middle School Principal.
Rhonda Selman, Memorial Elementary Principal.
Good evening, Sergio Garcia, Assistant Superintendent for Administration.
Travis Kennedy, Weslaco School Board Trustee, place 3, and it's an honor to have our esteemed guests from the City Commission.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Oscar Caballero, Weslaco School Board Trustee.
Letty Lopez, City of Weslaco City Commissioner, District 5. And it's an honor to be here, and I look forward to sharing thoughts and ideas as to how we can do projects together.
Jerry Tafoya, District 4, Weslaco City Commissioner. And it's an honor of mine to be here amongst you all here in this nice facility. This is my second time being here. It's always a pleasure being here with you guys and sharing our thoughts with you all. Thank you.
Juan E. Gonzalez, Weslaco City Attorney. Good evening, everyone.
Ivan Perez, School Attorney.
Mike Lorosa, Director of Risk Management, Weslaco ISD.
Good evening, Mona Seguda, Director for Human Resources. Nice to have everybody here tonight.
Mike Pettis, City Manager.
And my name, of course, is Erasmo Lopez, President of the School Board, Weslaco ISD. Again, this is a workshop, so this is a formal, public, everybody sitting at the table, most people that will have an opportunity to join in the discussions and add their comments as we go along. I guess just raise your hand if you have something that you want to add or a question that you have on whatever we're discussing, and we'll move forward. We have prepared an agenda, let me go back and say that our city manager and our school board superintendent, our school superintendent has prepared an agenda on projects that we want to discuss. And at that point, I believe we'll have to stick pretty close to what we have. The items discussed now. I believe there were some of these at the door.
I think they're,
The
posting was generic.
So we'll start off with current projects. That's move on to item number 2. The agenda is current projects. And item A is fire hydrant for Early College High School, medical laptop. You want to discuss that?
I'd like to say just a few words. Just on behalf of the administrative team from Weslaco ISD, we're very energized and excited in working with Mr. Pettis and his staff and with the commissioners on creating opportunities for our children in our great city. And so we wanted to acknowledge some current projects that are underway. First of all, we have the fire hydrants for Early College High School, and that we worked with the city on so that we could expand Early College High School to include a cafeteria that is much needed as the program grows. Another one was the electronic billboard. There is a billboard on the corner of Westgate and Pike that we have hopes as a district to move into electronic form so that we can keep our community updated about the great things happening in our district. So we submitted a letter and got clarification that we can change that billboard as long as we get permits into an electronic one. And then, of course, the Weslaco Reads, Weslaco Succeeds that we started our school year with. We're excited about that. Our kids are energized about reading. It's a great feeling to go to campuses and to ask kids who loves to read and to see hands go up and they say, me, because we believe in Weslaco ISD that with literacy comes a world of opportunities. So that's just to highlight some things that are currently going on, and we're looking forward to many, many more, including a race I think that you guys supposed to have.
Not the little one.
We thank you for that. And then our Board of Trustees, just for your energy and your motivation and your spirit of doing, for us to do whatever it takes to unite with our city and our county so that all our kids have the best opportunities. So that was for that first section. And if you have any questions about the fire hydrant or the electronic billboard or rather reading initiative, we're here to share more information or answer questions.
If I can say a few things, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Mayor, I think the city and the school district have been working well together. There's other issues or other areas where we work together. The middle school baseball program uses our parks, and so you had a water break today at one of your schools, and so we had our utility department helping out with repairing that water break. So I think there's a long history where the city doesn't work with the school district, but I think there are more opportunities. We all have the same customer, the same taxpayer. When they say, oh, my taxes are real high, they don't distinguish between city, school, and county. They just know they're paying taxes. And so we can serve the same, all the citizens, and try to figure out how we can be collaborative and stretch our tax dollars from both sides a little longer, the better it is. And I think a good example is on those fire hydrants. you've gone ahead and paid for it on your own. And then so you're buying the fire hydrants and we're installing them. We have crews that install them and we can install them very quickly and very efficiently. Plus we want to make sure the fire hydrants, because if they have to be used, they're going to be used by the fire department. And so we were happy to assist in that project, just like some of the others that you mentioned. So there are other things that we have done in the past and working in conjunction, just like you all fund the Boys and Girls Club operation, and the city built the building and it's on City Park. And so we have your customers are our customers. You have children you take care of, but at the same time you use our parks. So there are other issues here that I think we can work on in the future that are not in this list, but I think as time goes on, we'll look for other opportunities.
Well, you know, Mike, you didn't add, or you need to add that you have the experience that I think you've done this conjunction or working together with the city of McAllen and the city parks over there. So, and the school district. So, that experience will be very valuable to Gary to help us through this that process.
We look forward to having a great relationship. We already have a great relationship. I talk to your superintendent, I won't say it every week, but I'd say probably every other week we're talking about something. And so we all have the same customers. I mean, we can go to see cars in the detention pond, and I know that the school district was very gracious to allow us to use part of the school district property as drainage detention for sugarcane when that road was expanded and improved. And it was greatly needed when we were doing those improvements, so we could have a place where water would sit until it stopped raining so it could drain out. And there were some issues on the design that was not very friendly to the users, which are the children at middle school. And so we went ahead and did some changes. And apparently the changes are not quite adequate enough for children to use adequately. And we apologize because we tried to do everything we were supposed to. We sent emails and we thought we got the approvals. But maybe we can have some discussions on what needs to be done there so that we can kind of, maybe once and for all, get that issue taken care of. I know that we have ponding in there that we probably need to have our crews go in and fill in the low areas. You don't see it when it's dry, but when it does rain, I was out there with Commissioner Kerr, and we were looking at it, and you can see the little divots in there that need to have dirt on it. But I think there's also issues about the slope and the width. The only thing is that, you know, from our standpoint, we thought we had a couple of those people. Emails everybody got word was okay. Apparently it wasn't not. So if we can get some direction and clarification on that, what we need to do to get that taken care of.
Well, I think that going discusses the pond for the detention facility, which is the pond for, it should have been a runoff area that would hold, like you said, hold water and let it run off slowly. I think more of than anything, it's been a workmanship issue, but we're here now and working through it, and I believe, you know, in discussion that we've had, there's in the near future a possibility that the county and the city are well, they're working on Westgate, I believe, going north, that there's an idea of filling that pond back and returning the property back and whole to the district. You know, so getting back together, I think it's our message for the kids also to not try to spend a whole bunch of money to get it right to where it'll work for us for a short period of time, because the city will, or the county and city will fill it back in.
It's going to be a process of, you know,
I have a comment there. Are you considering filling it back in?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you want to do that if you spend thousands and thousands of dollars? Now you're going to fill it back in? No, I mean, what's it doing right now? Why can't it be used as it is?
Right.
Why don't we do something else with that money instead of having to?
Yeah, we have, Mr. President, we have our athletic director here.
I think also.
And we have Mr. Garland, who's really
Like-
the principal of Lieutenant. Paul about some of the issues we're having with that?
Let me ask you some other questions. The deal is, Commissioner, that when that project was done, it was done on a quick hurry up basis to get that road done. And the best option at the time, which, it was a split board at that time. The best option was to use that area for water retention, where it wouldn't overflow and cause damage anywhere due to the drainage canals not being able to handle the load all at one time. So going forward, it was to hold water.
Yeah, I understand the intent of it, but it seems like we've spent a lot of money into it, well, without giving it a good thought on what was going to be the long-term use of it, because now we're going to pay more money to fill it back in. So,
Well, I think, Commissioner, as I know the project, I don't think it's doing what it intended to.
So that's what I want to hear. What are the issues right now?
They can't use the field in what the intent was, so really it's just a big hole for them there. The kids can't use the field right now.
And here's, if I may, Mr. Mayor, what they're gonna do is with Westgate, that's gonna be made, 4 lanes going north. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna have to improve all the drainage ditches and make them wider and the drainage. And they said they didn't do that at the time because 1 is time and 2 is cost. But with us getting TxDOT financial support, we're able to widen those ditches much wider. And so the road is now going to drain into the ditches and are going to be wide and sufficient to be able to hold it. And when they move the dirt from there to widen the ditches, they're going to have to widen it, they're going to put it on the drainage tank. One is we're going to improve drainage in that area, which we probably should have done in the first place, but by widening the ditches, we're costing a lot more money, and then you have to haul the dirt, so we're going to haul it. And so with TxDOT participating, the idea is that we're going to have increased drainage capacity, and we're going to take the dirt, instead of hauling it 4 or 5 miles away, they're going to haul it right there and put it back on the school. Which one is we're going to improve drainage in the area, and 2 is then we give the playground back to the school district, and we don't have to widen it, because the way it is right now, it's still going to have to be widened probably another, what they need is probably another 20 feet. So that will probably cost us another $60,000, $70,000. So by doing it this way, TxDOT's paying for 90% of it. They're going to widen and improve ditches, and then they'll put it back in and they give the land back to the school district. So it's kind of a win-win. We have not had a chance to talk to the commission about it because we're still waiting for a couple of more things that we want to do, give a full report on the Westgate by their engineer, which is working on those presentations. We're hoping to have a presentation on February.
I have a question on the drainage. Where is it gonna, right now, currently, where is it draining to, Mario Cove? Can I ask you to address that question?
The field there at
Yeah. So it is being used, the detention pond is being used right now? Okay, so then, let's say that we cover it, then what's gonna happen? I mean, where is that water gonna go to?
Well, they're saying that they're going to be building that street north of mile 9.
I understand.
So they're going to widen the ditches on that side.
That was my next question. When are we talking about, filling it in with that dirt you're talking about? That's 2 years from now, isn't it?
Probably.
About a year.
I think we need to work on something like right now. All our kids are not, they're not getting to play their games at home because they don't have the area needed for a football game or a soccer game.
So what
right now I think
currently at that site?
So the issues are that, number one, the first issue is we don't have a field that would be UIL regulation for both football or soccer. It's too narrow a field.
So the dimensions are not there.
Right.
The size is not there.
Also,
the size.
there's a lot of ponding, a lot of water that's not draining, the water is staying. If you were to market fields right now, the way that market football field, the center of the field or the northern part of the end zone would practically be in the water right now. If you go out there right now, I have pictures right now from today. There's still water standing out there that is at least an inch deeper. So that's been a major issue for us.
That's in the detention pond, or?
So what happened was that area, we housed 2 fields in that area, which was a football field and a soccer field. Once the football season was over, we had 2 soccer fields. We have to have 2 soccer fields because it was a girls' playing and we don't have lights, so we have to get 2 games in at night. It's very difficult when we have heat. So right now we're playing our games on the northeast side of the school, a makeshift field that we created. Our football games are being played at Marvin Stadium, which is nice for the kids, but you know, kids like to walk out of the locker room, they like to walk out into the field. You know, we like to give our kids those amenities as well. But it's been a challenge, but we've managed to make it work. Those have been the main challenges.
So what about not the correct size? Like, why is it not the correct size? Like, who was not told what?
I think
size?
going back to the agreement, when we first did this agreement, the agreement was that there was certain length, if I'm correct, and it never happened. You know, so that's why we decided to go ahead and go and do this project with the city. But yet, in return, you know, we were supposed to get the field that were going to be wide enough with the, what do you call those, ditches on the sides, you know, a little bit, but they didn't do it that way. And that's the question that we have here.
So if I may, Mr. Carrero, so approximately looking at measuring the field and walking the field, we approximately need to clean out about 46 feet to get it. So it would be 23 and 23 from the side.
Make it
wider.
23 feet wider?
From the side. And I've got the approximate cost for all that work already, which I'm sure with Dr. Canales and with Mr. Lopez.
What was the cost of that, Mr. Lopez?
Sir, it is a detailed proposal. It is pretty pricey. I will share it with you, sir, as well as it's $225,000. That is the proposal.
Let me interject real quick and allow Mr. Gardens. Did you have a comment?
Originally, it was 2 fields, and when it was replaced, it was supposedly going to end up with 2 playable fields again, an irrigation system, everything installed. Now, it's not playable. It's, you know, the pond on the sides, on the sides, the water, when it goes in there, it'll drain to a certain level, and then it just sits after that. So if we were to try to use it as a field, we would now have to probably build a bridge, because if it rains 2 or 3 weeks later, that water is still sitting there. On the sides, there's been some erosion, so there was some PVC now becoming visible where the runoff has gone down into it also, so they have to put some dirt over that again also. So it's been 3 years. I mean, the kids who came in as 6th graders, who were going to be leaving as 8th graders, they never got to do any of those things. That's how long it's been.
So when the water stays, does it attract all the mosquitoes?
On the sides?
Right.
I haven't had too much. The mosquito issue hasn't been too bad. It's just mud and water and 12-year-olds. Got to go down there.
So we have no fields.
We have no fields.
Well, what we've done is we've converted. There was we have a grassy on the north side inside the loop. We've converted that into a soccer field, and we use that as a soccer field. But what happens is we're shortening our games to try to get it done before it gets dark.
No, we've been doing that for years at Cuella.
We used to have 2 fields to do it on, and then the football team, when they practice now, they practice in like a quarter field, a third of a field in the back by the tennis courts, and then they go play their games away. And the same thing for soccer. We have the soccer there, but then they practice. They can practice up there, the north side of the building. So I mean, to fix it up, it would have to be widened, and I think the drainage problem on the sides, because we have a ditch on the other side of our pavilion, if you watch, both of them will flood. The one on the other side of the pavilion is closer to the building. Within a day or so, the water's gone. But this one, the water sits in, so somehow it's not set to run off. And it might help if has some vegetation to suck up the water too, because it's mostly like dirt.
Well, we definitely have to start thinking of what is the right approach thing. I mean, if we did one thing not so good, we don't want to do another one even worse. So I think we should meet again and come up with a good solution, a smart solution to rectify this problem, because apparently the intended use is not there.
Now, it was originally supposed to be like 3 or 4 months and done.
To do that, and it's going to cost us even more to fix it. So we need to come to a solution immediately, and a solution that's not going to cost us any more, and that it's going to address the issues and at the end of the day have a useful field.
Because this would be the third time we're addressing this, right? Am I correct?
Well, we've addressed it just by
This would be the third time.
Well, after the construction, it'll be the second time.
Right, after the, yes.
Yeah. Now, is that the only option that you had, Coach?
Yeah, well, sir, I have another option that I can meet with another gentleman. However, this option is basically just working on the parameters inside, not widening the field. He's just looking at grading it, cleaning it up, making it playable on the playing surface that we have available right now. Resodding it, fertilizing it, of course, getting the field compacted so that when the sprinter heads pop up, we don't create the erosion because the soil settles. That is much more, I guess, less costly. Trying to fix the playing surface area. However, it would not widen, just working on what we have as far as clear field limit. Much more.
What's the pricing on that? What are we looking at there?
I talked to him today. He's given me a price. He's thinking anywhere between 20 and 30,000.
That's a lot better than 200.
Yeah.
Now, the deal, Coach, is that you need to not guarantee, but ensure that when this project's done, that it's going to work both fields, that 20 or 30 or 40,000, whatever it may be. And, we can address that with the city as soon as you have a firm price.
I have a meeting with him tomorrow, sir. I'm meeting with him tomorrow.
Okay, and let's get this thing going so we can get behind it. Now, the reason that I would say try to get the $20, $30, or $40,000 price is if in 2 years we do get the opportunity to fill that detention area, then it's all that goes away. That we don't have to hold the water there.
We bury that problem.
Yeah.
We bury that problem.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That allow you to use the field, I guess, within those parameters, in a short time. That way they can be used.
Coach, I think what you ought to do is maybe send to Mr. Perez so Mr. Perez can get to his commissioners. What are what we get to see that field that's kind of like in a wave type light. We get it to the city so they can actually see how it's not playable for
They
these
understand.
kids.
I think the city.
Well, I don't know if they've seen it.
Oh, yeah, I've been, I've been there with Commissioner Kirk, so he showed, he said to me, I said to the rest of the commissioners.
I think everybody's in the understanding that it doesn't work, so just trying to work it out to where it doesn't hurt anybody or cost too much money and the kids can start using it.
The timeline is 2 years? The timeline is approximately 2 years?
About 2 years to.
For the VFW project.
Widen and cover. They do drainage first, that's the first thing they do when they start widening the street, they have to drainage in first, so it'll be the first thing that's done.
About 2 years to let out, that's what the project was on, I think that, that's right. So I think that option.
So then, let me understand this correctly. The drainage part, it's all gonna go to Westgate. We're talking about, we're on Sugarcane, and we're trying to drain Sugarcane. How is that water gonna go all the way to Westgate? Is there a gravitational flow out there, Mardoqueo, or how is that?
What they're referring to, there's a section just north of Mount 9 that drains around the property on the northwest corner of the intersection of Sugarcane and Westgate. That actually makes it all the way to Stack. That's what they're referring to.
Will the water from 5.5, well, I'm gonna say a little bit, from border, really, all the way, will it make it all the way to Westgate? Is that what you're saying? I mean, I'm already seeing this detention pond closed or, buried. My question is, how are we gonna, because there's water that still stays there. As I travel those roads and we see that if there's a pretty big storm, rain, water stays on the road.
Commissioner Tafoya.
Yes.
On your question, and I sort of understand it's a question that's very hard to answer at this point. The blueprints and the drawings are being worked on, I believe, by a company that will be in conjunction with TxDOT and the precinct one, I believe.
Yes, and I don't think we'll bury that pond, I mean, we're gonna try to do, you know, plan B here.
Yeah,
in the short run,
okay.
And it's not gonna bury until the drainage is addressed. So there's a canal that goes to the back.
On the backside,
On the
right.
backside, where they can bury the pipe and by gravity, some of the flow can go that way, and then the rest of the flow goes to the storm branches on West Cape and going to Mount, because they're gonna, you know, wide outfalls, they're gonna have outfalls, so it's gonna be wide, so more capacity gonna be able to be taken. But
Oh.
we're not burying the week, so they do the numbers and they establish how much rain they can take in.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, so I was also gonna ask, I mean, have we looked at how much it would take, you know, to bury, not to bury, but put like a, corrugated, you know, pipe, I don't know, 24, 72 inch underneath there?
You know, we don't have those numbers. I know that when the city approached us in trying to get that road, the sugarcane widened, they had a number that what it would cost the city to put that pipe in through the property, and it was pretty high. So that's why they decided to approach us and do the detention pond.
Right.
You know, and Leo, also on your comment earlier, why would you spend all that money on refilling it? On a project of that size, when you're widening a road like Westgate, there's always excess dirt, and they're looking for places to put the dirt, and they'll give it away.
Will they pay us? Well, I'm serious. I mean, if they're gonna have to haul it miles away, we need to make some of that money up, what the school district does.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, if it goes over budget, that means the city and the county has to come up with a difference, so we just take the money from one pocket and the other. On the plans, I'll get with the engineer, because there's two of them. One is to run it west, and the other one is to get an easement and put a pipe underground that goes south of the ditch where it drains right now. So there are two plans, and they were doing the calculations on it. They don't have a specific idea what they're going to do with it, but they run the preliminary calculations and both will work. So I'll get with them, and then I'll get you a set of plans so you can take a look at it. At least the drainage layout.
Yes, yeah, that's a concern out
Like,
there.
road is tough to got, like, in the short run, you know, with Mr. Roca, so we can get that forward and get plan and see how it's gonna work and how we need to go in and build on it, make sure we get, in the short run, fix that, so if that fixes the problem, then it puts a band-aid on it, they can use it and put it on that route.
That's an ideal.
Right now, and then we have a year and a half to.
Now, all the loads of dirt that were taken off of that field are sitting behind Ibarra, if I'm not mistaken. Coach, right? So maybe as partial of whatever this bid that comes in, we can reutilize. Again, I don't know any of the engineering stuff, but bring some of that dirt back to help cover the cost.
Yes, because we will have to use, we'll have to re-topsoil it, and so we will use some of that.
Some of that dirt.
To topsoil. That's part of the goal.
So what's the next step? I mean, are we gonna get together here soon to start
Yes.
talking more about the details?
What the chairman just said is that the AD director is going to get the numbers, and then he'll get it to the superintendent, will get it to me, and then what I'll do is I'll share it with the commission, and since it's our drainage detention, then it'll probably be our responsibility. So if it's $25,000 or $40,000, the question is going to be is, do we contract directly with them, or we give them the money? Of course, you know, this is just my speaking of the city manager. I prefer to give the district the money and say, you fix it, and that way they're done, and it's their job to fix it.
I agree with that, but I don't know whether they get the price, everybody that we the money, they take care of it.
Yeah, they take care of it.
The issue, not the only issue, but I believe that in the past, well, we've had it twice before, but they've come back and tried to fix the problem, that at the end of the project, nobody has guaranteed our grades or checked that the work has been done correctly. So, Coach, make sure that you allow for an inspector, or that you allow for an engineering firm to come in and guarantee that the grades are where they will work as appropriately and not have any ponds. That's been the real issue. The pond, the holding of the water in pockets. You know, that's not what the way the project was designed in the beginning or intended to be at the end. So get some numbers, that way we can get back to the city, and then from what I hear, they want to just pay it, take care of it, so it's gonna be our baby after this.
How much time will that take, Mr. Coach?
Sir, if I can, I'll get something by Friday.
Or Friday, so when will we meet again, Mike?
We meet next Tuesday, but it'll probably be too late to get on the agenda, but the following, first meeting in February.
If I can get sooner, I'll get sooner.
All right, thank you. You'll get us dates.
Moving on to item B, the parking lot paving projects. Who wants to discuss that? We have so many parking lot projects over here. Look at that.
Well, I think the first thing we gotta do is prioritize, no? I mean, the same thing we do for our streets. I mean, there's some parking lots in Memorial, for example, I know it's in really bad shape, so, I think that's the first thing you gotta do, is prioritize.
I lost tires at least.
Yeah, and that, I agree, I think, but also the other issue gets to be is it okay for the city to go ahead and add it? What you would do is you would do the same thing that we do with the streets. So just like you have 6 streets or 5 streets you picked, then you would drop in, I think the number one project that the superintendent talked to me about is that she'd like to have the east side of the stadium.
There's 2. There's current parking lots and
Right.
there's 2 different ways and new projects, right?
Right. Well, and I think goes back to what Commissioner Leo says. If the commission says yes, that we'll add a couple of projects a year into our paving project, then you give us your priority. And so if number one project is to do X school or X stadium, then that's what we're looking at doing. And your number 2 is the next one, then we'll just start adding them in, and the commission will just add them into their projects. And so we'll get it done in the next 12 months. So, but I think the first question is, what does the city commission think about working with the school district? If they buy the material that's needed, which is the tack and the asphalt, and then the collegian, then we can help them with a few projects a year. We can't do them all because we have to do our own streets, but if we could knock out 2 projects a year, it doesn't sound too very money, but if you take a look at the 5 year, that's 10 projects.
So the city's gonna provide the materials and we'll provide.
No,
the
the school district does.
The school district provides the collegian, the tack, and the asphalt.
I think it'd be a great idea. I'm sure we can find a way to do that. And the only reason I'm saying is again, to share costs. I think it'd benefit both. And even if it's just a couple a year, but it's something that I think we need to do just to help each other out in that manner.
I'm along the same lines, and I know I'm the one that really harped on Dr. Canales and to get Mr. Pettis to come visit us one day. I really would like to see on my behalf, as much as I think Memorial is horrible, but so are a lot of the other schools. But I really think the stadium parking lot, to me, on the east side really would benefit not only the school district, as we're trying to move certain venues to come to Weslaco, where those competitions would eat in our restaurants here in Weslaco, and it would benefit both the city and the school district in that sense of prioritizing projects. Again, but I'm not trying to be selfish. I know we have a lot of needs in the school district with the parking lots, but I'm trying to see also how it would benefit both the community as well. We all know that we have the best stadium in the valley, and we're trying to host more things, and with more hosting of these athletic competitions and bands. The one, obviously, I'm trying to talk about Pigskin, and Mr. Bissett, our new director, is really working hard to bring it. And I think with all the restaurants, I think we have the venues now to really house a lot of these school districts that have a lot of our restaurants as their vendors now, to really generate that money for the community. So, I'm open to all ears with everybody's take, but without a doubt, yes, a lot of our schools need a lot of help, and I love the way Mr. Pettis had talked about a 5-year plan, a 6-year plan. No matter what happens to this board or this commission in the next couple of years, it's already set in stone. These are the projects that are going, and don't mess with the growth of this community. And so I leave it up to the rest of y'all, my friends, and see what y'all think as the elected officials here and the guys on my board. Again, any input from anybody else would be greatly appreciated.
I'm going to piggyback off of what Mr. Gonzalez was saying just right now, with the east side of the stadium is really the visitor side of the stadium, and that's our public a facade for anybody who's visiting Weslaco that's coming in from other schools to come in and play at our stadium. That's what they see. And if it's raining, what do they remember about Weslaco is that it's a mess. It's, you know, muddy and it's ugly. I say that because every once in a while Weslaco East gets to play as visitors on that parking lot. And this time it was pretty muddy, but putting myself in the shoes of literally people who are coming in from out of the area, that's what they see. That's what they're going to remember about Weslaco. And by far, we have the biggest draw, I think, for anybody coming in to visit Weslaco at any night would be our football games. And we do, you know, pack the stadium sometimes, and you guys have been there, so thank you for your support. But it's something that is very visible, and I think it would be kind of the biggest bang for our buck to have a better representation of Weslaco when we have our visitors come in, and to have a little bit better of a parking area for them there.
Is that parking area the actual parking lot for the high school as well? Is it that part, or is it?
No, it's the
east
what we're
side.
talking about is by the stadium.
Just right and back.
Yeah, it's like Caliche. Right now it's like Caliche.
Okay.
Yep. Let me chime in here for a little bit. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but do we build parking lots from the ground up, like from the subgrade to the?
We've done.
Or we just do resurfacing
Overlay.
for the most part?
We've done overlays, but we've also laid down caliche and packed it down and done that. We've done a few parking lots, we've done a few streets where we've had to hold everything up and then lay it back down and put caliche back.
How proficient are we in that? Because I know we resurface a lot of streets, but we don't do a lot of parking lots on a regular basis.
Yeah, parking lot doesn't have to be built as strong as the street does, but it's not that much difficult. I think the question is to be if they want to have, you know, curbing to create a.
What I'm going to recommend is suggest, you know, what the chairman said a while ago in reference to, you know, the pond area here with the parking lot of it, and we'd like to participate in all that and try to schedule it, as long as it's engineered, the compaction, testing, and all that, then we're going to put the water's going to drain, and then we do the labor, and the school district will and try the engineering, get the plans, and then once we're ready to go, we program and send our people to get it done. If that's done, then it will alleviate, you know, we don't have to do it.
No problem.
If I can also, so I understand the stadium, but maybe I'm the only one here. Our visitor side is not, it has not been sold out, and we have only so many football games throughout the year. Soccer, special ed Olympics, I'm gonna say graduation, for the most part, we have enough parking. Our schools on a daily basis, they're being used, and I know it, for example, at my school, I have about 500 cars every day in the morning, in and out, in just the drop-off area. And as a principal, I can tell you I get more concerns about our parking lot, both the faculty and the student and the drop-off area, than from the football stadium. And maybe I'm going to be by myself on this one.
Well, I think this is what Mr. Perez was speaking about. Yeah, that would be up to you all, the school district, to prioritize and what you would want to have done first, like we do with our streets. Yeah, but that would be something that's on whatever you all decide. But we're talking more and you know, working with each other to make these things happen, whether it be that first or whatever.
Right, and I agree with Dr. Cantu that we do want to make a good impression with visitors that come into our campus, but on a daily basis and in the evenings also, because we have basketball games and volleyball games and other events in the evenings. I think that's more usable, and that's something that, as a principal, I would prioritize. We have enough parking in the student parking lot at Weslaco High School where people can park there and they use those sidewalks to get out there, and that would just be my comment.
I have to agree with you, Ms. Morales, because I think that we all as elected officials would hear more from the parents of our students that saying, you know, hey, you know, you need to address a parking lot, and once we do that, they would be very pleased to see that we are using their tax dollars to the best benefit.
I can tell you as an elementary principal, they would appreciate that.
Right.
Because especially when it's inclement weather, raining and all that, every month we get calls on a daily basis. So
But I think it goes back to what Commissioner Johnson. I think what you heard from the mayor and the commission, we're willing to put a couple of projects on our street. You as the school board, y'all determine which are the top two, and we'll put it in the work.
Take it from there.
Our work list.
Can we do top four, sir?
Ah.
Some of the problems that they say maybe they just need an overlay. The overlay,
Right.
I think, as long as,
Right.
nothing to put something right behind the bleachers where there's going to be a total reconstruction. Planning, engineering, so we can program those and the overlays are cheaper and easier to do.
If it's a small, like a strip, like the entrance, which is real quick, then we probably can do 4 of those. If it's a big one, because it takes longer, the larger the project, it's the same crews that take care of the paving, that take care of the drainage. And so it's just a matter of how many man hours do we have during the season to pave. And so we just work it in, and that's up to them. They may be able to put 4, they may be able to put 3, depending on the size of the project you give us. So if you give us a list, then we just start knocking them out.
Assuming we were to create a prioritized list, provide it to the city, along with money for materials for the projects, how soon could the projects get completed, would you say? That's what we need.
All they can do, I'm just saying, they'll get at least 2 or 3 of those projects done between now and September 30th, based on the work list that we have right now. And once again, it's up to the mayor and the commission where they kind of lay it out, because they tell us, they pick the streets, they say, this is 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I'm going to put 6, your project number 1, and they may put 8, project number 2. They'll determine where it goes in there, but they give us a list, and they say, these are the streets you have to get done in the next 12 months. And so I'm constantly on, where are you, because we got to get all these done by the end of September 30th. So you give us a list and they'll prioritize. And they will probably meet on it again on the street list probably in the next 60 days. So the sooner you get it to us, the sooner we can tell you how quickly we can get to it. Probably in the schools, if we're going to do the parking lots for schools, those will be done in summer or during spring break. Like for example, the one going into East, we're gonna try to do that during spring break. The street goes into there. How bad it is if you don't have a high big pickup in the bottom out.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
And Mr. Pettis, who's going to quote the materials? Is that coming from the city?
That comes from the city. We'll tell you what it is. We have a contract already, and so you'll get the contract price that we have. We go out for bid on asphalt, and that's what you'll get. And we'll give you an accounting afterwards. So we'll give you an estimate that it's going to be,
the actual invoice,
we'll give you the actual
over under is whatever they use.
The material list, yeah.
And we'll send it to you at the end. We're not going to bill you, pay us in advance. We'll do the work and then we'll send you one.
Okay, but to get there, we need some paperwork, some understanding, or?
Yeah, we'll need to have you're right, we'll have to have a local agreement to do that.
Okay, so, and who would handle it? Between our attorneys?
Yeah, we can
We can do it in locals, and basically you guys give us the details, and we pretty much have the same boilerplates. We just incorporate all the details that you provide us based on your agreements or what each entity votes on.
I agree with the principal from Weslaco High. I think we need to prioritize our repairs on quick fixes on the roads. I know that we will possibly be going out for some bond money here pretty soon. And that parking lot at the football field is a little bigger project than what we really believe it is. It's a good sized project. I know that the city has, and I think one of the commissioners made a comment, have been doing overlays, and I've observed them as they've been working around town, and they do very good work. They're quick, they're clean, and they get in and they get out. A project like a new parking lot would require hauling that out, and I believe that your taxpayers would be upset because y'all wouldn't be able to address some of the concerns that you have in the community, and I think we might run into a little bit more trouble. I know that the entrance to East High School, for example, that would probably take 4 or 5 days. They'd be in and out, and they could address other stuff going on that the city needs. I think you have some. I'm pretty sure that your concern is on
east parking lot, that's horrible at the high school. And that one, you know, they could go in there also. And the good thing about doing a resurface job is that they can do, you know what, we got 3 days, we're gonna go tear out this much, and redo it. And it can be gone for a month if need. And then a month, 2 months later, they come back and do another section and phase it out that way. But if we get into a parking lot, like the one at the football field, that one is a go and can't stop until you finish. I mean, it could be as far as going doing it at Leach and pulling off, but at the same time, it's got a lot more nuts and bolts to it than a resurface job. And I think that if we do convince you or make you commit to doing something like that, I think it'll stop you guys from really going 2, 3, 4, 5 different projects that'll help more people, more of the community, dropping off students at schools. And so I feel that I think we need to address the big projects on a bond or some other method of moving forward, or put it towards the end of our list.
I was gonna see if we could add on to these parking lots. One of the main concerns that does come up and does arise, you know, from different constituents is that, especially, I'm talking, you know, usually talk about District 4. There's quite a few schools around that area, Mile 10, also Sugar Cane, and the traffic is just terrible. I know that your school board attorney has also talked about that. But one of the things that I'd like to see here is to probably do something like we've done in Kleckler Hill. Kleckler Hill was very, you know, the way they redirected traffic inside their own parking lot, and you know that just redirected traffic and took it out of the major thoroughfare, which allowed a lot of more traffic to travel and move faster. And it was also a safety issue that, you know, that was taken care of at the same time.
We thought about that at Weslaco High School when Mr. Nieto was there, but where the faculty parks by the W in the front area, we thought of opening that up, and that way we have our 2 lanes, the regular under the canopy and then the faculty one. But the way it is set up at this point, we don't have, and we have not been able to do it so that we have more, the flow is going and we have an extra lane. But that would be a bigger project, obviously, but that would help us with item I.
That's item number F.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Are we done with? Oh, B probably on the back. Okay. Are we done with B?
Okay. Let's continue with that. Just getting a little bit ahead of myself.
That's right, Commissioner.
I think let's get our attorneys working on, or do we need to take action before the attorneys are working on?
No, I think at workshop, if you just give us direction, then we'll direction. And the plan is we'll try to have it on our agenda on February 6th.
Yeah, let's not limit it to asphalt, maybe any project that, like you did the fire hydrant, and leave it open to where we can work together as much as we can, elsewhere, so that we can move forward on that.
Right, we're just going to need some decisions made in terms of the priorities and what gets on there. And
yeah, I think the interlocal is just so that we can go ahead and participate in paving or overlaying parking lots in the schools or parking property in the schools and other types of construction material. But if there is, all the material will have to be paid by the school district. It's real simple, that's all it is. And so if it's asphalt or it's fire hydrants, it doesn't make any difference. If we're able to work it in our schedule, then we'll go ahead and put it in. Now, we won't do anything until you tell us, and we got to get something from the superintendent that comes from the school board that says, here's what we want to get done for the next year.
David Addison, with City of Weslaco Parks Department. A little bit of, you're talking about 2 years down the road or 3 years down the road, projects is fine, but I think some temporary fixes that we could do. We have a pothole patcher. I'm thinking we could get a driver, one of our guys, Public Works, and possibly help train the school staff. Obviously the school will pay for the material, go out there, at least get the ones that are like ginormous. I mean, there's some that are really bad. So you go out there, at least there'll be temporary fix, something the students, the parents can see immediate action. Still good to have plans down the road, but I think if we want to see something here in the next, I don't know, 60 to 90 days, we can get that agreement in there.
Mrs. Selman, how's that north side of the morning? It's still, south side, I'm sorry, it's still pretty bad. Do you think it's contributing to the congestion there in the morning?
Not really. That's a whole different issue.
Yeah.
That's item F.
Yeah, that's item F.
The reason I'm asking is, do you think they're in avoiding the potholes? Because the last time I drove through, it was pretty bad.
Some do, yes, some do. But
So
I don't think it's, increasing the congestion.
Medical, at this time, do you have a crew that is active in patching potholes?
We use the same people, we just rotate them. And whenever there's the need, then we'll just pull them away from wherever we have them. There's a need to address the priorities.
But are they, tomorrow morning, will there be a crew out there patching holes?
Yes.
Do you use cold mix or hot mix?
We use cold mix. And that was going to be my question. Just over here, if the pothole patcher uses hot mix.
It's hot.
It's a lot better.
It stays hot.
So that's longer.
Yeah. But it's just getting the crews to properly do it. It's not just, obviously not just throwing it and, compacting it. But I think working together it could work out.
I think we're getting into the details and weeds. I think what we could do, Mr. Chairman, so we can, staff can get together with your staff and see how we can do it. We have a lot of potholes ourselves, but maybe we can do some flex schedules so we can find out if the plant's open on Saturday, you can get asphalt on Saturday. I know that if the plant's open on Saturday, is it, what do you got, Pete?
No, sir.
No.
That's
So-
the key. The plant has to be open.
Yeah, we'll have to, but let us work on the details and we'll work something out. And we just need to put the ability that we have the flexibility and we'll work with you so we can have one person who will flex it. Okay.
Okay, the next item is item C, barbecue renovation. I know that at this point, the city is completely putting out by helping us, with everything we're doing so far is for our benefit, or for the benefit of course, it's all the same people. Yet, I feel that you guys are doing your part. So we, on this barbecue track field renovation, what is the specifics on that?
Sir, I think that the facility is used a lot by community members, as well as, of course, school property. But we do have a gate open, now that we've gated the entire area, we do have a gate open on the back. That gate stays open pretty much 24/7. We do have hours where we have class in session, after practices, where the gate is closed for community members to come in and walk. Other than that, it is used quite a bit. So when I asked the coach what are some of the projects that we could work together on, this is a perfect one, RA field. The track is in really, really bad shape. It needs to be wetted out and redone. We patched it up through track companies, but it's just beyond repair. It's just not good. The asphalt's coming up, the gravel is coming up. It's just not in good shape. So I do have some proposals to renovate that track. Here, also the number.
Yeah, we do.
That one, I remember. Okay, so I have a proposal close to 400,000.
I told you. I told you.
Now, the $400,000, is there any grants, is there any, somebody, an HEB, somebody that'll step up and give us some money to help us with that project, or has anybody researched that?
I have not looked into that, so I can't.
And then they're combined, the city.
Sponsors.
And maybe the city can look at that on their side, and we can look at it on our side.
What are you asking from the city, though? That, I'm trying to understand. I got that the community uses it a lot, but like, what exactly, are you just asking for money, or?
I guess what we're looking at as a district was a joint venture to get it to maybe share the costs, not all city members. And share the cost between the city and the district.
What kind of specifications does that propose? Is it like track? Track?
No. This is a base
Competition track.
Competitive track. It's the red.
Like what you have at
protection track, not what you have on that stadium. This would be a basic 8-lane track, of course.
But if the community uses it, would it be an overkill? Can we get something more affordable that can work for middle school at the same time, suit the public? I mean, we have crushed granite and now we have asphalt for more public.
Can we not do the, like an overlay?
Well,
like the old San Benito track that they had forever? I mean, if...
The problem is that it's already coming out. So the track experts that have walked there said, oh, we just need to cut it out. Go from board to board and then start fresh.
I'll tell you what, we can light it up this. We'll put lights to this. That's a lot. That's a big project.
Yeah. Would asphalt work there or no, Coach?
I'm thinking about you don't want to be running on asphalt. For the sake of students and
for the fitness part.
Yeah, for the fitness part, not necessarily want to be running on asphalt.
And again, this is another project that was in our bond issue.
Right.
Our bond did not pass, so we're looking for help. Not saying that come the next opportunity we have to go up our bond, that we will come back to the city and ask for help and getting the bonds back so that our community can all benefit from doing improvements to our facilities.
It's a big gas, but it doesn't have a practical walk either. So it would be nice to try. I can't do asphalt, but as you mentioned, Brian, I think we co-mingle with the city and the school district. We can put something together. It's worth a shot. The NET Foundation, the Latinx Foundation, and do a project as a park venture, wellness, and we know most of the committee members, they need to help us out if we go in as two, entities, the city and the school. We can get some of that grant, 200, 300 million kind of paper.
That'd probably be our best bet.
I think the commission, what the mayor's saying, and hearing a few of the commissioners and trying to read them, I think if take a look at a grant, it might be some foundation, it might be somebody, but if you take a look at the city putting 20, 25,000 and the school district put 25, 40, 50,000, trying to get someone to come up with 3/4 of it or half of it, then I think the matter is to see what we can do. But someone has to be out there that would probably be willing to help for 200,000, 300,000. So our exposure between the two is no more than 100,000. And so if we do it over, and I always take a look at the fiscal years. If I have half of the funding in one year and half of the funding in the other year, so I'm just saying it's 50,000. So I fund 25,000 this year and 25,000 next year. It's 50. And the school district come up with 50, that's 100. Now we just have to go find someone who can give us 300. Someone must be out there that can give us 300,000, or multiple people. And and I think the mayor's idea of the two medical foundations in South Texas would be a good start. And if you can get them, then you can go to the Meadows, and then you can say, if they want to give something too. But if you all take the lead, I think, Mayor, I mean, I don't want to step on terms, but if you think that's possible, then I think they've got the ball that the school district can run it.
I just got an idea real quick, just to
if we're gonna invest a lot of money, or you guys or and us into another track, I'd rather build it like a big Garza somewhere where there's, you know, other people can use it as well, because we just got the walking track right across the street there on the park, you know, so, but that's just an idea for future reference or whatever. I mean, if there's gonna be an investment of that much money, I'd rather build one, like a big Garza somewhere else, where some other people can utilize it, and then the people in that area right now can use that new walking track that is at the park. I mean, why else did you know, the park board vote on that walking track? You know, because we want the community to use it. So,
have you seen a reduction in public use of that field after the new trail has been done at the park?
No.
You haven't seen it? You might have a point, Oscar. Now that they have a new track on the other side.
It's right across the street?
Yeah.
Isaac Rodriguez.
Where would we put it on the north?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, maybe like a big Garza, because we don't have a track over there, right?
No.
But they don't have a field.
They don't have a field either, but I mean, that'd be something.
Sorry.
There's a pond there.
I mean, they got a pool. They got a pool. I complain. They got a paddle pool.
You know, because once we get the new park on mile 88, and, you know, that's going to be on the east side, but we're still not going to have anything on the west side, and that'd be an idea to put it up at Big Arson.
Yeah.
But that's just thinking ahead, you know.
I like that idea.
That's the use of the money. So.
Yeah, sure you do.
Before we did the fencing, it was Big Arson was kind of like a park where you'd have football practice, people playing basketball. You know, there was, you know, there was a lot of
usage.
Everybody using it. The ground.
They used to go practice. No, they used to go practice.
Yeah, they would practice.
Yeah, they'd go practice.
Practices out there.
Yeah.
People playing basketball, you know,
Yeah.
T-ball.
Well, I think if you're able to find that 200 to 300, because I know for the main stadium, they've even looked at the possibility of naming rights, and maybe you name something on the north side after a big investor, that if we can find a grant, if we can't find a grant, one of those companies that's willing to donate to our community and name that little area after that company or foundation, and maybe that might incentivize them to invest.
Okay, so we're gonna find some money for that one. Okay, so I guess the next step on that will be our find somebody to write a grant or
Right.
somebody who knows how to find the money. We all have somebody. Item D is the baseball and softball field.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Mayor, Commissioner, board members. One of the things we'd like to know, we have an interlocal that we have, and we're using, you started a middle school baseball and softball program. And right now you're using our fields, which is fine, but we just need to know what the long term is, because if you're going to use the fields long term, then we need to start looking at what we're doing. Because what we're doing is we're pushing some of the, like the adult leagues, we're pushing them back. We're starting them later because, of course, you know, we're going to work with the school district first because you're our partners, but some of the league members are starting to call and say, hey, well, what about us? And what about us? And so we just need to know what your long term is. If you're looking at eventually building your own fields for the middle school, then that's fine. But if you're going to use it, using this city fields, then we need to know that so we can start looking at planning and what we need to do. So just need to have an idea. I guess, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if it's going to be you or AD director.
I'll ask the question though, how many fields of yours are we using?
You use
how many
two. We're using two. Yeah, we're using
two.
Block and
It's 2, 3, and 4, depending on the night. I think there's one night this year that
They're all
has
used.
all 4. So we'll have 2 at City Park and 2 at Hard Block Park. But on average, it's about 2.
And with softball season, we're tired of using city fields because it's right in the middle of high school softball. And that's just the way the schedule plays out. So, of course, I want to thank everybody for the support. The program's been very, very well received. A lot of parents, a lot of kids participation in these programs. Yes, obviously, we need the help of the city to be able to make this happen. And I will say this, that working with Mr. Oxley, we're one of the cities that we don't have to worry about fields because of our partnership with Mr. Oxley and us. Because some of the cities surrounding Donna Air Couch, they don't have the same luxury that we do. And so a lot of times they call us, hey coach, you guys are supposed to come to us, but we don't have a field, and we move the game to Weslaco. We don't have it on schedule, so I don't want our kids to miss out. And a lot of times we're able to work it out. So thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for that help, because that helps our kids a lot. Long term, oh man, we haven't really given that thought, really, to be honest with you, sir. Our programs, like I said, we have a lot of kids, and it's going to continue to grow.
How many kids do we have, Coach, since we started the program?
Each team will carry a full team. We can make probably 4 teams.
Number-wise?
We carry 17 to 18 kids per team.
Say.
I don't think ours have a lot.
Per school.
They have like 3 teams.
Grade up average in our school.
Total per school. About 160 kids.
Almost 200.
I'm not really familiar with how much it would take to build a baseball field or softball field, but
well, in some schools, because we don't have the space to build.
Gonzalez Silva.
Yeah, but in those areas we
we're talking 2 softball fields, and I know that if we build them, we're not going to use them full time. And then in turn.
Right. I think if we take a look at the Gonzalez Silva, that big old section, I think it'd be a great location. Now, can you play softball in the baseball park?
Yes.
Can we? Yes. Just temporary fence it maybe for the girls softball, and then when we're not using it, let the city allow whatever leagues,
Little league.
well, whatever it could be to be utilizing that park.
I was thinking of probably a little bit less expensive than that. I mean, if you guys want to build your own, that's great. But the ones we have now, from the backstop, from the backstop to the home plate, it's not good for, especially girls softball. It's 60 feet back. It needs to be around 30. So I think it'd be dumping a little bit of money into these parks that we already have, and moving it back. I mean, we're not talking about building new lighting and fencing and stuff. It might, I'm sure it's a few $1,000s, but it's not, I'm guessing 200,000 for a field, more or less?
200.
Give or take?
Right. I mean, I think it's more than that.
So
yeah, because the lights lit.
Well,
the light alone could be $500,000.
Yeah, we paid for one field, four poles is 122,000.
Yeah, so it's a lot.
And that was for a small.
But you're talking about the fields where we have
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
We already have lighting and.
We already have lighting.
What would be the cost estimate, and maybe that's the cheapest route?
Maybe that's.
I don't know, but that's that's something to look forward to.
Can you work with that?
Yeah, I can.
And that's why we brought it up, because if you don't have any plans, maybe what we need to do is take a look at partnering, just like you want us to partner on the track, wherever we end up putting it. But maybe we need to sit down and take a look at maybe, for 10,000–15,000, we can improve the playing fields for the students, and then maybe we can take a look at what else can we do. Are there some fields we have right now that we can light? It's a lot cheaper to light something for 120,000 than to build a whole new field for 250,000. But if you're not looking at any plans of building new fields, then I think it would behoove both of our entities to get together and have a discussion of what can we do jointly to improve the fields for, not just for the general public, the adults, but also for the junior high students.
Have y'all, because it's been many years since I touched the softball, have y'all added water to Harlem Block Park?
We've corrected this.
So there's water at the fields now?
Yes.
Yes.
So maybe going in there, Coach Rojas, get an estimate on what it would be to tear it up or help them with the fertilizer, help them to bring up those fields that are already lit and get them.
The maintenance.
Yeah, the maintenance side of things and get them a little bit better where it isn't as far back and harder.
Because one of the questions that we had is we could work together with, I think you guys have portable barriers.
We have the temporary
stuff,
fencing.
yeah.
We put the temporary fencing at 200, which obviously we'd have to move it back 30 feet, but we have a temporary one in the back, but it's still only probably like 4 feet. So, you know, at that age, some are still learning how to pitch and stuff, and it goes over, so it's kind of out of play. And if we don't put them up, then, I mean, you're basically telling them to take 2 bases because they're going to run all the way around.
I think I got it's just my idea, you know, I was working, but I think the cheapest thing to do there would be to move the backstop a little bit forward, because the fence is already there. You just got to pull, you know, take it out, move it 20 feet to the front to where they're coming a certain distance from the plate to the fence, and then once you put it in there, you can just, you know, cover it up, and then now you're legal to go. You know, so I mean that would be the simplest, because it's not going to cost you more than just labor and maybe a couple of chain link pieces, or you know, but that would be the cheapest way to go. Move the backstop up instead of moving the whole field in. You move the backstop in up to the plate.
Well, that'd be something that I think it has a lot of value to look at. But I think at this point, we'd like to ask for the board and the city commission is to allow the staff on both entities to look at it and then to get back a report to you no later than May, because we start budget, and that's when that's when staff has to get it everything to my office. I start looking at it, but I'm sure that's when they have to get everything in to the superintendent, and so that way we can give a report to both bodies.
And maybe,
and in fact, I mean, that's something that we can work with the school district, and maybe some of our employees can go out and help. Because I mean, they're good with moving fences in and out or whatever. But all you gotta do is go in there and take, you know, pull the backstop, you take it apart, and then you put the new poles in there with cement, and then you just put the fence back on there, clip it up, and it's ready to go. And that'd be the cheapest one, because you're not gonna buy too much material other than the concrete and the labor. You know, and that's a quick fix. And I
we
think
just have to make sure when we put the concrete in, because that's running back, when it's on the concrete, we just have to. But I think it has a lot of merit, but I think that's what we need to visit with your athletic director and our parks.
Because right now, I mean, those poles are concrete. I mean, it's the same thing, you're just moving it forward.
Just moving forward. Mike, one last thing. We're going to be building a new park on the north side, right, already? Should the school district have any input on our parks, our baseball field size?
And to tap into that, and I think that was my thought was Silva and Gonzalez was giving the north side, that little corner gets utilized by Pony League and Weslaco Little League. It's packed all the time. It's a dust bowl. But giving something to the north side, since everything is just, unfortunately, everything is on the south side right now, and helping. So maybe finding the money to move something towards the B Garza, because I think that's our biggest property out there. And then maybe Gonzalez Silva working along with the city to give more of a park. I mean, I understand they play baseball there, but maybe they can practice somewhere else, because we do have the properties, you know, maybe moving some towards Ibarra. I think we have property behind the school that doesn't get utilized. It's fenced in, but maybe we can, again, working together and just brainstorming what's the best before any dollars are spent, so that we use them wisely.
Where's the north side of town?
Mile 11.
Yes.
Mile 11, off of Texas. On the side of Landing Road. That's right.
How many acres?
48.
48.
Minus 3 for fire stations, so it's 45.
It's almost off of Texas. Mile 11 in Texas?
Yeah, Mile 11.
It's to the east.
It's north.
Judge Garza.
Yes.
The southeast corner.
There's a house with a brick fence right in the corner, and right behind her.
Joe Olivares.
Joe Olivares.
President Baker, Joe Olivares.
Yeah.
El labor que estaba ahí.
So you want to bring the school district on board to some of our workshops?
Yes, sir. We're going to include them on that. I haven't talked to the superintendent, but we're looking at having them partner. The county is going to partner. They're going to submit a grant application for CDBG to put a playscape in there, and then they're going to do all the labor to put in the walking, jogging trail. We're going to buy the material and they're going to put over again.
Okay, great.
So I'm gonna try to figure out how we can partner with the school district, because I think we have some opportunities for practice fields for, you know, either soccer or softball, baseball.
How many? What's up,
Do you have drawings for that?
Yes.
We have some very preliminary drawings right now.
And then, I'd say, you've got those plans, right?
Yes. Yeah, we can get that to, we'll get it to the superintendent.
What's that?
Architect?
Oh, we have,
Alvarado?
No,
Hefner and Associates.
he's just doing some preliminary. Andrew Hefner, he's a civil and architectural.
he's a landscape architect. He's a landscape architect.
What's the timeframe on that?
The end of 2019. Start construction. We're moving there.
Yeah, we got a grant application with Texas Parks and Wildlife right now. We should be here sometime in March.
Yeah, this year's we start working on the fire station, correct? And then after that, a year after that.
Okay, so on item D, basically what needs to happen is that we give our staffs to communicate with each other and figure out how we can help each other out.
And we'll get a report back to you, both elected by May.
Because we want item D, the school resources officer.
Those are police officers and stations in discussion. In the past, we resurfaced about school resource officers in secondary schools. So we have some information and some from Mr. De La Rosa.
First of all, I'd just like to thank the Weslaco Police and Fire Department for your professionalism, your commitment to our schools and our students. Certainly, every time you all have responded to incidents, you've all gone above and beyond call of duty to make sure that we're safe, make sure things are taken care of. So thank you for that. That being said, it would be nice to have a uniformed officer, on campus full time. So we did have a meeting. We did meet with the city manager back in November. There was a presentation made before this in your packets. Just has some basic cost information. Initial work we've done. We'd like to continue to work towards this goal with the city and of course with the board. So of course, the police administration takes the next step to pursue that or continue our exploration.
And Mike, I remember this was, we have been working this on and off for about 2-3 years. I mean, I know we got real close to funding and I don't know if it was 6 resource officers. I think they were at the high schools and at the middle schools. And how close did we get to it? Because I know we were coming back and forth and I thought we got real close to come to an agreement and I don't know where, I guess, where the ball, where we dropped the ball, where it got stopped.
I don't think the ball was dropped.
No, I went for lack of a better word.
More than like, I think the change of administration, or current change of administration, that's kind of where we're at right now. So I think the next step would be to meet with the new administration and move forward there.
What was the number of officers? I'm sorry.
Probably 6.
We were looking at initially 6 total. They would work, I believe, just 180 days. But of course, all that dollars and information, dollars and cents, I guess we have to work with the new administration. Correct?
I mean, the issue is there just change police doesn't mean that there has been a change in philosophy in the commission, and that is they still want to do the project. I think that the issue now is I think we're waiting for an interlocal agreement from the school district to us, because you were looking at 13 days and the city had to make a difference, because I can't just work with police officers for days, and so I've got to figure that out. So if the district is still interested in doing that, then if you'll let us know as soon as I can, so that I can start looking at how we're going to pay for the difference. And maybe what we need to do is, I always believe that we need to crawl before we walk, and walk before we run, and run before we race. And so maybe what we got to do is just take on the high school first, and let's see how that works, and get comfortable with that. And then if that works okay for a year or two, then we go to middle school. But at the same time that we're doing that, it kind of dovetails in with the other issue, and that's how we handle Class C misdemeanors for students. And so I think we kind of have to work that both hand in hand. think if we had a police officer on campus, it would make some of the issues when we all have issues with high school students and we have to go pick up, that we kind of follow the procedures because the laws have changed and they've kind of restricted how you can handle it, they've restricted how we can handle it, and it's real complicated. It's not real simple, so we got to work through that. So we want to do it, but I would suggest that what we do is we do the high school first, and then we take a look at junior high. To go ahead and sell them all at one time, I think is going to be a little, one is financially. I mean, for you to take a hit of that amount of money in one fiscal year is going to be pretty hard.
Mike, what is the amount per officer?
Total for the 6 officers, we estimate about $300,000 on our part.
Mike, do we have anybody on our staff that can test as part of Ms. Escalon's staff that maybe, you know, they go by levels, right? Like level 1, level 2, and then maybe
It's all level 2.
So do we have anybody that we already currently employ on our security staff, Ms. Escalon, that maybe can test out or already have it?
We do have 6 police officers, reserve police officers, but they are not from the school district, they're the security district. But they have the license held somewhere that live in the police department.
Okay.
The issue is that if we were to go that route, we would be looking at creating our own police department versus interloping with the city where they have their own civil service rules, et cetera. So that really is, you know, kind of where we're at. I think it'd be more, economically suitable for us to partner with the city and do it on our own.
Well, if you do me a favor, just create why it would be good, a pro and cons as to both ways of looking at it.
And we did include some initial cost comparisons in that project from the presentation we gave to the board. I think the last time we actually looked at it for 14 or 15 officers, we're looking at easy over $1 million just to get started. So then, of course, you have all the vehicles, maintenance, all the other stuff that goes along with that.
Hey, Mike, is the intent of this to handle internal incidents or incidents from the outside coming in?
Internal.
Anything that happens.
So it's more so for the high schools and elementaries?
More so, yes.
Secondaries.
Secondary.
Secondary schools. But of course, if there was an incident at one of the elementaries, certainly it was we and our resource officers would respond.
Right.
Mike, so the cost of some thousand, how many resource officers is that?
That was based on 6, and that was our
For the number of days, right?
The city's.
Right, and the cost was the salary and I'm assuming.
Salary and benefits.
And benefits, equipment and benefits, okay.
And there's a spreadsheet there where it's all broken down.
He doesn't have a copy.
But we don't have an estimate from the city yet?
Yes, we do.
They do?
And I guess the questions they're surfacing on the start, how many to start with, the timelines, like if it's something that we do budget for next year and we want to have a go, how long it would take for us to get it going, the first day of school, for the first day of school.
Right, so civil service, we don't just go and hire, we have to test. And depending if they're licensed already, then it's a quicker, rapid phase. If it's not, then it takes us a lot longer. So, I mean, from the time that we say we have a contract and you know we're going to do that, but we start the process of, because what we're going to do is we got to send somebody in who's experienced, particularly into the high school, because it's a lot more complicated. So we have to take one of our more seasoned police officers who has experience with juvenile to send them in. Because what we'll do is we'll hire the bottom and they'll start from control. So these seasoned ones, because it's not just one is how do you deal with the parents, how do you deal with the students,
right,
the faculty, and the administrators. So they have to be seasoned. So I think if you let us know in.
Well, Mike, I'd like to eventually look at their budget or look at on the 6th resource office and what we're looking at and what you're looking at, because I don't think that the idea was there always to hire 6 new officers. I mean, because there's officers, when the plan came out, we talked about it years ago. We're gonna, try to work out and move some of those officers, the PAR officers, or that are there into the school, to those campuses. And they're going to pretty much be platooned, and we just need to come up with a difference. I don't think we're going to hire 6 new ones. You might have to hire somebody. We have to look at that and look at that cost.
And
look at that cost, and because they're not gonna be service interest officers, it's gonna be experienced officers, that you're gonna put out here.
Yeah, I think, Mayor, and I'm just saying, what I was told is we were, by the police department, we were looking at hiring 6 new officers, and my concern was that, because we gotta pick up 80 days, and so.
Well, that was never, I mean, I don't see why we hired 6 new officers, if we had officers that are doing community service for easy. You have the BAR off. There's officers there that are gonna be moved, that are not patrolling, they're not patrolling to begin with. Not all the officers were patrolling, so those officers, I was thinking, I'm not the police, I'm not, but I'm thinking that those will be probably.
We can look at reallocation of resources.
Right.
And there might be a way to do it quicker. But if you're interested in it, then I think the sooner that you let us know, then the sooner that we can start looking at reassigning resources and be able to wrap up, even when we start off next year. So the sooner that you let us know.
Mike, what is our cost to this participating member?
It'd probably half of what they're saying. So if we hire
150?
If we
150?
We hire 150.
If you hired new, right?
Yeah, if we hired.
If we hired new?
Right, because like, they have spring break, we don't have spring break, they're gonna end up, working somewhere else. And what we'll do is, if they're on vacation, we'll flex, we'll get somebody else to cover them. One of the reasons that they like to do it this way, because it's a specific cost. If somebody's sick, it's our responsibility to put somebody else there. If they get injured, it's our workman's comp, we put somebody else in there. It takes away from them having to have duplication, because then we get to be the background.
And when we have to really look at that, and we can discuss them more in length and make sure when the new chief is hired, but we can start the ball rolling, Mike, because we also look at the overtime and make sure that we manage them correctly.
Right.
Once we get into contract and see what we're going to do, and I don't think it's going to take 6 months.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, but the issue, Mayor, once again, is on the workshop, is to hear from both the mayor, the commission, and the school board. If that is something they want us to take a look at, then it's something that we're going to put energy and time and a report together to get back to both elected bodies to say yes or no. But I think, once again, that decision needs to be made once around May, so that way we can be ready by, and really you want to be ready by, you start school in August 20th or something.
The 4th Monday in August.
4th of August?
Well, not the 4th, but the 4th week,
fourth,
right?
okay.
Not the 4th week in August. Not the 4th. Yeah. And then,
I was just going to ask, that there's other schools that do this as well. How is it that they're doing it? Is this the same way that they're doing it?
Yes.
we have a list, right?
Some
The
do,
districts.
some don't. Some have their own police force, and others work together with the city.
You want to take a look at commission contracts?
Yeah, let's take a look at all
Commission
that.
contracts, just like the way we are.
Right.
I'm familiar with that. Weslaco ISD, they have their own police department.
And
No.
and some districts have even partnered with counties, the sheriff's department. Mhm.
Mike, how many police officers were you looking for to put in the high school?
I believe it's 2 at each high school.
2 at each high school. Okay, so that would be
And
4.
then one kind of sergeant.
Andres.
Because they need a sergeant.
Going into the budget for next year, how feasible is it for you to find $300,000 or to allocate $300,000 for police officers at the high schools?
I need to look at it.
And where it's going to fall down the whole list of priorities that we're going to have for
We have
next year.
several items on the list that we're working on.
That's going to kind of be good to know if some of the existing officers can be used to have that information, so we'll know as we're dealing with a budget, it's not 300,000, it's 200,000 or 150,000.
Well, get the number.
We started with 2.
Right, and test it.
No, but I feel that if we're going to do the high schools, we can't just do one. We have to do both. Because if we put them on one high school and something happens at the other high school.
So you're meeting the early college?
Yeah.
Early college, you're not
but-
seeing those problems?
But not yet.
It's still small enough to
They're
where.
still corner, yeah. And,
Population is there, the amount of students, 2,000 compared
Well, I guess, Andres, the ball's in your court. You need to let us know if we can do this. If we can't,
Mr. Lopez, if I may, I know the
Constable Mr. Avila had also spoken to Mike and told him that other districts are also utilizing constable deputies, and that the county's paying some of it, and then the constable department pays some of it. So I know he already talked to David Fuentes, just as another option as well.
Okay.
Dr. Canales, I think I think if we're going to aspire to be the best school district, we also should aspire to be the safest. And I just want to give you my opinion. I think it's a step in the right direction, because all it takes is that one situation. I hate to say an active shooter or something. And having officers already there at the school is more likely to neutralize a threat as opposed to a response time from an officer or somebody else.
Trying to get them.
It'll neutralize before it even happens.
Yeah.
And then there's the other intangible benefits too, that the relationship that the officer's going to develop with the students to identify who's selling drugs in the school, who's committing crimes in the school district, any other issues. There's even stories where school resource officers are the first ones that kids who are having, if they want to hurt themselves or something, they go and approach a school resource officer for help. So there's a lot of other benefits, but I think it's a step in the right direction. I just want to commend you guys for taking that step. As a dad who has students within the school district, I just thank you guys for that. Anything that I can do to support that.
Yeah.
And your points about the relationships, it's so benefits, the visibility, and the work that the officers do on campuses is really important. I mean, I've been in many different schools and districts where the difference is behind my office doing paperwork and writing reports, or actively engaged with administrators and walking the campus and interacting with kids during lunch and breakfast that makes the difference. And, you know, strategically where they even park vehicles and cars.
Their presence alone is a deterrent.
And the relationships. I can go to an officer, you know, if I have a problem. In addition to my counselors and my teachers, it's a community supporting kids.
Mike, so get with Andres, figure out the dollar amount, get with Constable Avila, and you know, if the county can bear some of the cost of it, along with his office, Mr. Perez, and maybe year 2 just went to 4 and we're able to hit the middle schools as well. You know, let's not just keep the door shut to just one entity.
The intent was never to do
right.
that. The information that I got from the constable was just last night.
That's why I just hold on that.
Yeah, so just make sure we hit everything so that we all benefit.
Yeah. Well, safety of our students is a priority. You know, so that being said, I will totally support the going forward with the 4 police officers in our high schools, at least as a beginning. You know, moving forward to also finding money to where we can put them in the junior high and middle schools, and you know, for safety and security. So on this, let us know what we can do, and if we can't do it, we'll have to figure something out. But I would totally throw my head behind support of this venture.
Just a quick question as a matter of curiosity. Has Idea Academy approached the city about having officers at their school?
Who's that?
I just want you to know, Idea Academy has not approached the city about getting officers in schools.
Safety.
Just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Good job. No.
Okay, so I guess we've gotten that one pretty well cleared up, and we'll get back together on that one. Okay, moving on to item F, traffic congestion at elementary and secondary schools.
There you go, Jerry.
Everybody's got something to say about that one.
Oh,
We already covered that.
Yeah, that's a big concern, and you know, like I was saying, it happens in every school around here. Whether you're on the south side, north side, east, west, it's happening everywhere. And those were some of the questions that were asked of me. Why isn't it that we can divert traffic inside, you know, some of these schools? Somebody mentioned that, you know, the high school, Ms. Morales, that's, of course you can't do it there. But there's other schools that there is plenty of land that we could.
I think we can do it if we restructure our main entrance. We could do it. We could open
Right.
up another
the cost is also a problem, but those it can be done, you know, and if we can, you know, have a study and see if we can divert traffic and move it away from the major thoroughfares, that would be a plus. The reason I'm bringing this up is because we're going to be hit with another 300 more units. They're right behind McCoy's. We already have about 120 already over on mile 10, and that traffic study hasn't been done. Where, you know, this traffic, I mean, I don't know what is it we're going to do when we get those 300 more, because all those people are going to be going to school to Collector Hill, Beatriz Garza, the high school. It's going to affect everybody.
You have another large complex opening up south border, right? Yes. Just south of the
Right.
The ones behind McCoy, they're going like gangs.
Yeah. That's going to be a 300 plus unit venture there.
Yeah, the south border one is huge.
So my main thing here is, you know, what is that we can do so we can make this, again, it's for the safety of the students, and also so we can, you know, direct traffic inside the school district, or the school boundaries. I don't know, we have something already in plans, and this is the other thing. It's probably our fault because we have not done anything about this. If maybe there should be some type of ordinance that, you know, we need to direct traffic or keep
You see,
traffic.
That's my question, because I've been at other schools for staff development or trainings, or when I'm out of town, and I see the same problem throughout, not just Weslaco. Like, is there a solution for this? It's sort of like the stock show. You're going to have traffic at the end of a parade. You're going to have traffic. Al fresco, we're going to have traffic because of the barriers. I'm just wondering, you know, and this is just, I tell my parents, you know, 7:15, there's no traffic. The bell rings at 8.
You got a plan for it.
10.
You got a plan for
yeah,
that.
you come between. So I don't know. I don't know that investing in that is something that we even have the money or is a solution for that. But I'm just wondering, like our security guards or Weslaco PD, I don't think we have enough people, but like our own security guards, can they help with the flow of traffic out there to
I don't think they
like,
can.
I don't know the jurisdiction and all that kind of what training they have, or that's a liability issue, or Mike De La Rosa say no?
No. Something happens to them, then we're
well, I think.
I know I've been out there myself, like come this way, go that way.
I think at the start of the year, I visited, we had a meeting, and what I shared with them, it just so happened, I was on my way, there's a feed store just past Sherry High School. And it was during when all the in-services going on the campus, and they had Mission PD, or Sherry PD, whoever, I think it's Mission, teaching those teachers how to cross the students back and forth. And it was something that I brought up here because Mariqueo and Leo and myself, we met about a month ago, 2 months ago, over at Memorial, because he was also, as a parent, concerned about traffic. Then we had the coffee with the soup at Memorial, and they were concerned about flow. And my answer was, there's nobody there before 7:30. If not, you wait till 4 to pick up. Real simple. You know, those are the times that traffic flows. Otherwise, you got traffic. But as far as reaching out to maybe teaching somebody, maybe the security, the resource at the time, or now that if we get a resource officer, then we
Well, we have
teach.
police officers, like in our campus, I know I have at least 1 or 2 that are police officers, so I don't.
They're just because they have a license, they are not police officers while they're wearing security wear.
The security guard. Okay. Well, but maybe training.
Some of them hold a license and are maybe reserves with other departments, but they're are not police officers when they're working for us.
Well, but the point I'm trying to make is, if we teach them, if they take a class during an in-service period when they're here already working, you know, maybe that can help alleviate some of the traffic at some of the elementaries, at some of the high schools. I know Airport has that little entrada. Klecker does a good job.
What's that?
Airport and
Klecker.
What's an entrada?
I don't know what you call it. I don't know the right terminology. I call it an entrada. But, and so it tends to flow a little bit better. So maybe at these schools that don't have that option, like Memorial, like Margot, that don't have that option, maybe having that, whether it's Westwood PD.
Can we explore that idea? We trained them to handcuff, and that's something that we haven't done before. Can we train them and get them?
Here's the first thing that you need. One is, you should never put a school in an intersection.
Never.
First thing, ever. And in Weslaco, apparently, we thought the best place to put a school is at an intersection. It's the first thing.
Caddy corner.
We weren't born at that time. Hey, we weren't born.
The second thing, if you don't, we already have that problem. So what you have to do is take a look at your parking layout that you already have and the existing land that you have in your property. And can you redirect traffic within your parking lot to create a larger queuing area? When you take a look at some of the newer schools and some of the, what I call larger cities and the faster growing cities, you see that they have a queuing area and they have a larger piece of land. But the problem is when it's larger, you have to buy more land and you have to pay more for parking. But you take a look at your existing parking lot, and is there a way you could move parking in a different area and have traffic go in a different way? And that would be the first thing I would take a look at. The concern I have with having somebody out there directing traffic is you're asking for an accident to be happening. Parents get very agitated. They're going to go out there and they're not paying attention. They're not supposed to be on their phone. They're not supposed to be talking to their kid, and they can hit somebody. And if you're lucky, it's just a bump. If you're not lucky, they're going to run over their foot or hit her pretty hard. And that's real dangerous to have somebody out there, particularly like you're out there directing. I know you have to because it's site administration.
Like I have to get the football team out, and parents won't stop.
So I'm just saying that the first thing is to take a look at which are your worst campuses. And Mateo, our city engineer, would be happy to sit there. You have an engineer on, I think, on retainer. Sit down with them and take a look at one or two schools that are the worst ones. Take a look at them with your engineer and the city engineer and see what you could do about rerouting. Is there a possibility you could use part of the parking lane? I don't know, but I would take a look at that. And my feeling is like eating an elephant. You know, one piece at a time. Take the worst school, the second worst school, and see if you can do it, and then you go to the next one. But I would highly suggest, and you could ask Ted, who's been a police officer for 20 plus years, if it's safe to get somebody out there to direct traffic. It's not a safe situation. I always have been concerned. And the reason they do it at Sherry is because they are, they're the officers that have been assigned to the school district.
And I've not been in other campuses, so I always assume B-Cars is the worst for traffic. Because you've got B-Cars that collector and they Montessori in the middle. And they have their, Montessori has their security guard goes out there and he stops the traffic. He's king. But there's, since the road was widened, I think it's helped because we use that longer loop, but it's still, there's, you know, I mean, we're building at capacity right now. I mean, every time I drive by New Orleans, I see those things, it's like, can't wait. But I think one of the things that maybe can help is there's that section of border, and it's almost a semi-blind corner there, right? Like, I always worry about that because kids that walk, they have to kind of get out of the road and go around the corner on the border. Is somehow if there's some way to straighten that road and maybe, and I can't remember which school I saw it, they had an extra lane on the side. Like right now the parents they're making a lane on the side anyway. But maybe we put in a lane on the side where they could, you know, put a sidewalk where they could drop their kids off. That would help alleviate some. It's on the north end of the board, right before border where it gets, sure.
If I may suggest, Mr. Mayor, Chairman, is that once again, you ask your facility director and our city engineer to take a look at the two worst ones and to come up what can be done internally with that, and then, and after they try to solve that one, they can go to the next one.
Right.
But a lot of times, it's some of the things we talked about. Can we use a parking lane? Is there a way that we can take out part of the right of way and make 8 feet for parking? But they can figure it out. But I think for us to try to figure out every school district tonight, we won't get it done. But I think if we task the school facility director and Mike Gale.
And that's what I was going to add on to that, Mike. Similar ways that they used to work Clickler Hill is all I'm asking. I don't know who's the one who did it. Whoever did do that, y'all did a wonderful job. It actually took traffic off of the major thoroughfare. And if that could be done, like Mike is saying, you know, 1 or 2 and get together and see what it is that we can do to redirect traffic, that would be a plus for everybody, a win-win for all citizens here in Weslaco.
I think we need to start, like you said, at every school, and not just with the redirecting traffic, but the method of pickup and the method of drop-off.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's the same. I just know that not too long ago, I went to a different town. I'm not going to say which one. I picked up my grandson, and it was like a production line. There was like 12 teachers, maybe more, and they were all parked or standing pretty like a car length apart. And as a driver or a parent, you had to drive the farthest you could. The car left, you drive forward, and you can see your child walking on the sidewalk, trying to get to where you're going to finally stop. And then from there, once you get to, if it's at the very end, then you stop right there and he jumps in. If there's a car in front of you, then, you know, and as the cars are getting ready, they just pull out and they leave. You know, and it was quick. I saw it and I said, wow, this is fast. I don't know if that's the way our districts, if all our principals do that, or if it's a car comes in and stops, it's got the whole thing stalled until he gets ready to move, and everybody just moves forward. You know, if that's the case, that's part of the problem right there. You know, maybe we need to start internally to review how we do our drop off and pick up, and get the thing rolling.
I saw one school here in Weslaco doing it that way.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
It was fast.
And the parents,
the
parents know that as soon as the car in the front moves, they move.
Hey Mike, is there any way we can restripe some of these streets to add more lanes? Do we have enough width, kind of like what we did on Westgate?
Depending on where the school is, we may have enough. And that's what I'm saying, I think we got to get Kale and their engineer. And I think the chairman has a really good point, because I think one is, I think while they're looking at the 2 worst schools, there might become up some ideas that you talked about that maybe we can help, and the school district knows their situation better than I, about adopting a policy that the superintendent can send out that says, this is how you have to drop off and you have to pick up.
Okay.
But I think we need to sit down and take a look at where can we, those things that we can cover outside the parking lot, that's what we would help.
Let me tap on to Mr. Perez. He mentioned a good point about what Mo tapped into. She's in the room, but she does a great job at Memorial, and I know you don't like to wait. But Ms. Ullman has about 4, not 12, but she has 4, but then she has, on the other lane, she has about 2, and so it is what it is. If you get there at 3:15, when the kids get out at 3:45, you're just gonna have to wait.
And it depends on if the kids are out. Sometimes
Yeah.
the kids are in the building yet.
And so, you know, it's kind of like when you leave Las Vegas. Taxi. They do the same thing. Put you in the number, and then here comes the taxis, and then the first 12 go, and then the next group goes to that thing, kind of like you're doing a roller coaster ride. But Ms. Selman does a good job over at Memorial. Do we have issues? Yeah, I just think it's one of our biggest schools for us.
The majority of our population are pickup. Very few ride the bus. So to get 700 kids out the door, 15 minutes, I think that's.
So maybe having a district policy, Dr. Canales, where it says, hey, you know, we looked at it, and maybe having a row of 6, a row of 8, whatever it may be, and just bust them out kind of like a roller coaster.
I think the policy really you can't dictate because all schools are gonna be different. I think what we can dictate is to say that you need to have 12, 15 people outside to facilitate, to help the loading and unloading of
Tell them to get off.
of students, yeah, get off or get on, you know.
They want to get
and-
dropped off right at the
Yeah, because, you know, if you're gonna try to get rid of 700 kids and with 4 or 5 teachers or 6 teachers, it's a lot easier if you have 10 to move them along.
Just because everybody gets picked up.
Okay, so.
So then the engineers are gonna get together, right, correct?
Yeah.
I feel that really in discussion, I think our staff needs to come together and discuss, pinpoint which schools the community or they're getting more calls about, and then we can start analyzing from inside to see what's going on with our loading and unloading, and then the city can at the same time say, you know what, we need to widen this road or add a lane, stripe this up.
We'll wait till they call us after they analyze it and say, okay, now we need help outside our boundaries, and then we step in. So we'll just wait for a call.
The state, there are 3 traffic studies being conducted by the state as we speak. One of them is Memorial, one of them is Central. I don't remember.
Was it Mary?
Mary
Mary
Hope.
Hope.
So soon they'll share those findings with us.
And when is that, when is the study going to be completed?
I saw them out there this morning.
They're out there studying it. Yeah, and we definitely can look at some internal controls too, but I know that some of the preliminary discussions have come up with maybe the need for turning lanes into the school property.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can take things in steps and figure out a way to try to weigh out the problem.
I'm sorry, what was TxDOT doing?
Study.
They're doing a traffic
Study.
at Central, Memorial, and Mary Hope.
Yeah. Where and where, I'm sorry?
Central, Mary Hope,
And those are,
Can we get them out there? On the north side?
The sites were picked at random by TxDOT.
Okay.
We requested their
and just control, traffic control, safety, left turning into like Mary Hogue. We had meetings at every single campus where parents came in. At the end, they shared concerns. Traffic is one of the concerns, you know, that came up.
I
Safety
think
of
a
kids
lot of
when crossing
that,
roads
I
and.
think a lot of that also has to do with everyone being in such a rush. You know, I understand everyone's time is valuable, but everyone's feels that their time is the most valuable.
The most important.
Exactly, and it's, to be honestly, just a little patience. You know, I mean,
Have
we
a
get out at
coffee,
3:25, by
coffee.
3:35, everything's good, you know, I mean.
No issues then.
It's 10 minutes, I mean, but if you get there right at 3:25, it's like everyone just cut in front of each other and others not letting others get in, but relax a little bit.
Yeah.
10 minutes and then
Maybe we need some music
you don't worry
playing
about anything like that.
in the parking
Yeah.
lots.
That's just me personally, but.
I'm sorry, it's Central, East, and Memorial.
Central East, okay.
Okay. So everybody not sitting in the table and there's plenty of stuff out there, snacks and waters and drinks. Everybody's welcome to get something, get a snack. Okay, so we're already discussed that one. We're going to go ahead and get our engineers and I guess Mike, would you be the point of contact on that one?
Give me the engineers.
Okay. Okay, now item G is the 12 strands, use of 12 strands of school district fiber optics by the city on
Okay, we have,
Yeah, I'd like to.
Sherman, we have the.
Carlos?
Carlos too, with the graph,
Well,
something with a display.
Should we let him talk about it? That way he can give us the introduction and what he's asking?
Yeah, we're doing the ask. The school district, I think had a lot of foresight in installing and constructing a fiber range in its community. And I think it's great because you have gigabit speed between all your schools. We don't. And so what we'd like to do is we 96, I think, on the outside, then you have 12 that kind of go internally. We would like to have access to 12. One is so we can connect parks and our public facilities throughout the city. Right now, we're looking at, the mayor's talked to us about trying to, at some point, have Wi-Fi accessibility in the parks. We have, at City Hall, sometimes in the summer, we will have people sitting on the north side to get access to the public Wi-Fi at City Hall. And you'll see them sitting there along the wall between us and the church. And first time I saw that, and it's like, what are they doing? I said, oh, we're using your Wi-Fi. And so they want to have access to Wi-Fi for the speed. And so the idea is that we could put that out in the parks, I think would be really accessible, really great, and we can do that. And so we'd like to do that. Also, it's also for economic development. The issue is call centers, and if we can have access to the fiber, then we could go ahead and be able to use the fiber. I think if you end up, I don't think you could be able to do that as a school district. I don't know what the rules are for the school district, but I don't think we can do that, but I know we can. And so we have that, and I've talked to the superintendent. So let's just say we have company A that comes in and they want to put in a call center and they need to have access to Wi-Fi, and we can provide it, and they're willing to pay us, just pick up the number, $10,000 a month, and they'll pay for the hookup. But we have no issues in splitting that cost with the district. And so we would manage our portion, but you would get part of it. And so I think we'd like to have some kind of discussion about it, because you have, in my opinion, an asset that I think would be very beneficial to this entire community, not just from the standpoint of the public, because they would have access to high-speed internet, but also from the standpoint of the bottom line.
Carlos, what would that do to our school network?
Well, is that part in your presentation?
Well, part we can discuss it. I mean, just to inform everybody, basically we have 3 complete rings of fiber. I'm going to call it ring 1, ring 2, ring 3. On the top is the orange that we haven't completed ring 4 because at the time the county wasn't giving us permission because we weren't classified as a utility. But I'm going to pursue that again. So, but for right now, everything in green, and I know it's hard to read, but let me just go down to the bottom. Ring 1, ring 2, and ring 3 have 11 sites of the city, which we run right next to. So ring 1 right now, we're using 24 of the 48 strands. It's Fire Station 3, Harlem Block, and Isaac Rodriguez Park run right next to our fiber. Ring 2, we're using 14 of the 36 strands. And we got City Hall, Gibson Park, and Mayor Pablo Peña City Park. Ring 3, we're using 18 of the 48 strands. Runs by, well, pretty close to the Mid-Valley Airport, Police Station, Fire Station 1, Public Works, and Water Treatment Plant. Ring 4 is the one we still have to build on, but we are using 10 out of the 48 strands to hit our campuses. The only sites that are many blocks away that we can't hit are the Cavazos Park, La Placita Park, Fire Station 2, which is downtown, and of course Mayor Joe Sanchez Library. But all the other sites we are running right next to. And just so everybody's familiar, the main, I know you can't read the roads very well, but the bottom is 18th Street. Going up on the left, that's Westgate. We come down 4th and of course hit 7th and go by Isaac Rodriguez Park on 8th Street. The top near the stadium, we go down Pike, across the expressway, and of course the other major road is Sugarcane that we go all the way to Votech. So With that, we're next to 11 sites of the city. All our fiber is 5 feet down to even 30 feet deep. So just so you understand about utilities, your phone, your cable are like 3 inches to 24 inches. Your gas is 24 to 36. Your power is from 36 to 48. And we're 60 inches or even further beyond. All our fiber is locatable. If you call 1-800-DIG-TEST or 811, they can identify where our fiber is. So we haven't taken a cut. Also, all the red spots are manholes. And just so you know, this is a conduit that our fiber runs through. We have 2 conduits. One is empty for further expansion, and our other strands are going through the one conduit to complete these rings. So now back to your question. We can separate our network from the city's network where they don't touch each other, even though they're using part of the fiber. That's not a problem.
Does it affect our speed?
Excuse me?
Does it affect our usage?
It will not affect our usage or anything.
That sounds good to me.
Every spot needs a pair of fiber. The pair is one for send, one for receive. So I do have, like I showed you, I've got a lot of growth in there. I got to keep some growth for the north part. That's probably going to be more in Ring 4 for maybe future campuses.
You have a spare conduit though, right?
I have a spare conduit. Yes.
Let me ask you a real quick question. Ring 1, which is the one I believe at the further south, is that correct?
Yes.
Why is it that we're using the most on that ring, which is 24 to 48, as opposed to all the others?
Because that ring is hitting, of course, Memorial, of course, Central Office, Central Middle School, Margot, Cuellar, South Palm Gardens.
Early College High School.
Early College High School. It's got most of the sites.
Most of the schools. Now, where did you want your club?
Well, it's kind of throughout, we have facilities on all your 3 rings somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had some very preliminary discussions with your school administration.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something that's acceptable to the school board, then we'd like to have a little bit more detailed discussions about, and I said 12 would be our optimum. If 12 is too much, 6, because these exactly, they go in pairs. And so you don't do like 7, you do 2, 4, 6, 8. And so that's what we'd like to do.
Mr. Pedersen, this would help the city attract more business.
That's one of the rules. What first is to connect our own.
Okay.
Because like right now, our backup system is at the police department. So we back up every day. But we back up right now to a T1 line. And so they're compared to the fiber, it takes forever. It's like at night, takes hours to back up. If we had fiber, it would back up literally, I won't say minutes, but very, very quickly. And we back up everything every day, just in case something happens, we have a backup. And so, from our standpoint, it's really critical for us to have very fast connectivity. We talked about wanting to have quick, when our cell phone isn't working real quick, like in 30 seconds or less, or 5 seconds, I want to throw it away. And so, but everybody wants things done very quickly. And so, that's very important for us. Secondly, what you brought up, which is very important, is that when you have fiber and you have, and right now everything's relating to industry.
God bless you.
The idea of trying to make widgets, you can make widgets cheaper in Mexico or China than you can here. But call centers are going up like crazy for all kinds of services. So the idea is to try to recruit call centers, but they want access to fiber where they can get fast service. In some areas, in Weslaco, it's very expensive to get to fiber because they know they have to come over a barrel. So they're going to places where they have access to fiber very easily and very affordable. The reason McAllen has so many call centers is because they have access to fiber. In that case, it was the city that put the fiber rings in, not the school district. So they are selling space on their fiber. And you tell us, if I think 50-50.
How many jobs would a call center create here in our community?
Anywhere between 40 to 400.
Wow.
So, and my feeling is we'll market it and we'll do the connection and we'll split half of the cost with you. Whatever we get, from our standpoint, it's not so much the money, it's the creation of jobs.
Right, exactly.
Not the money. So if you want a larger percentage, I know it's not a good thing for me to negotiate, but from my standpoint, it's to have access to your fiber. My feeling is give us a chance to visit in detail with your staff and to give a proposal both to the school board and the city commission. And if it's something that's acceptable to both parties, then we can have a partnership. I always try to figure out, because I've had a relationship, as Mo was saying, I did it in Arlington and I did it in McAllen. The more connections I can make between the two entities, then I think the stronger it makes. Because then I can't get really divorced from you because I am connected at the hip.
Right.
And that's the more ways I can figure out how to do that. Then it doesn't matter who's on the school board, who's on the city commission, who's the superintendent, who's the city managers. We're all connected.
Yes.
Dr. Morales, did they look into, seeing if it was possible as far as by,
With our funding sources for it?
Andres, did you
say that again?
We were looking into the funding sources for this and what was allowable and not allowable at the time when we underwent
Well, we use local funds for the fiber optic cable that we
So
do.
there's no strings attached, no, I know there would be more of a sped or state.
We'll have to work out negotiate an agreement on generating profits and splitting up the profit. If it's going to be used for commercial purposes.
Well, seeing that the amount of strands that we have still available, that we have as backup. Carlos, how are you adding strands yearly? Are you adding strands monthly? When was the last time? Give us what was the growth, or has it been stable for 3-5 years?
No, it's been stable. Currently, right now, we're running 10 gig connections to all our campuses, but even the high school, which has probably the most connections, we might hit 4, tops 5 gigs of the 10 gig possible, so we never hit our limit. But like I said, even the high schools, we already planned not just 2 fibers, but we actually have 6 fibers, so I can triple my bandwidth if I really need it. So we're always monitoring that.
And those fibers are already counted in the ones that are being used here?
Yes. The nice thing about fiber is I can do 1 gig, I could do 10 gig, I can even go 40 gig. I just change out the little hardware components where my switches and routers are, and it's all with the same fiber.
Okay. Well, as far as...
So you wouldn't have to throw any more fiber, it would just be changing out a switch.
Changing out the little...
To get that gig.
Right, the fiber optics.
I have no problem with going forward and looking at the information and the proposals and all the... Here to Andres, if it's legal, and Ivan. I mean, it's a good partnership that we need to look forward to. If the city can pass an ordinance that all students must go to Weslaco ISD. I don't see why it can't happen.
Yeah, you can, yeah. If any business coming in has to send their kids to Weslaco ISD.
And just so the city commissioners know, and of course all the board members, we do have a generator in the back. It's a natural gas generator, which is fed by Texas Gas, which is also connected to a large UPS, which powers my network operations center, my server farm, this boardroom, and the lab. And this boardroom and the lab were designed because in case, and hopefully we never have it, but if we have a catastrophic emergency where we got major outages, this could always be a command center for the school district and the city. So just to let you know.
So, just one quick question. If we add schools later on, we're okay?
We're okay.
Round about? Okay.
Yes.
Give us a cost estimate on what it would cost to put cables in all the spare conduits that you have.
In all the spare?
Yeah, on ring one, if we put another, how many sets can you fit in that?
96, I think. You put 96 in your 88
Well,
or 48, what size is it?
48. 48.
And there's one area that's not. You already talked about that as
Right.
well.
And just to reiterate, my ring 1 has 48 strands, my ring 2 has 36, my ring 3 has 48, and I'm just waiting for clearance to get, and I can do another 48 strands. I already have it on the ends to complete the orange
For ring 4?
Ring 4. And from ring 4, I can go up, because ring 4 is hitting mile 10. So if we ever go up to mile 11, I can create another ring.
For the new park? Okay.
Any other questions?
Generate more jobs.
No, just work on that cost. That means we need to take that into consideration so that moving forward, if we do need more, and then give me an estimate, I guess a guesstimation of when you think we would need to do that, to use those spare conduits.
Okay.
How far in the future?
I have one comment. We're going to be expanding Westgate from mile 9 to mile 11. And one of my questions on that presentation the county gave us was if there was going to be any infrastructure for any communications. And they said no. Like, they didn't give it any thought whatsoever. Have you all thought about doing something concurrently so that the expense could be minimal, since they're going to be doing all this work there already? At least provide the infrastructure for conduit?
And no, we haven't, but I'm going to tell you, the problem that they were having is that they're not an entity that can be located on the right of way, but if they partnered with us, all of a sudden, we have access to that right of way, and then they can go ahead and lay it on there, because then once we get to be partners. So.
Well, can we do it?
Yes.
I mean, that's going to get done. It won't cost much more to run one or two more conduits while they're doing this.
But we can have a discussion with the engineer on the project to see about that we are partnering with the school district.
I gave them instruction in that meeting to look forward, to look into that, because, you know, we want to think for the future. That's what we said, we should have it lit too, and Jerry jumped all over it. So I think this is a good opportunity for us to extend that over there at minimal cost.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm for it, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but as far as getting the information, there's no action being taken.
I agree.
Right?
Well, to me, you know, again, I'm going back to creating new jobs here in Weslaco. It's creating new jobs. They're going to go eat in our restaurants. They're going to possibly move here. They're going to possibly have kids, and those kids will enroll in Weslaco ISD. And so it's a win-win, I think, really honestly, when you look at it at the end of the day.
And the other thing is that the city is also thinking of hotspots.
Yeah.
You know, that some of our students.
You know, we discussed in our last board meeting about the possibility of finding a way for our students that don't have internet at home. How can we get internet to them? And so, again, creating those hotspots and doing whatever it is that we need to do in conjunction with the city to help out. I mean, I think it just behooves us to move forward with it. I mean, it is what it is. We have the strands, and they need it, and they can.
Now, when you say 12 strands, you're looking at the rings 1 through 4. Where would you say 2 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 right here?
Well, when I say 12, you have, what do you have? Is it 48 on the first one? How many do you have?
So it's 12 per ring.
Right. So I want 12 per ring.
Oh, you want 12 per ring?
48.
But if you want to give me 8, I'm happy. You tell me what
If you want to give us 4 schools instead of 2 school
Okay,
parking
so-
lots, yeah.
Yes.
12 per ring.
I'm okay with that. We'll take care of that. Whatever ring goes in, ya no es ley for Y la maquinaria del paving. You even said, Mr. Chairman, que toro para un lado. This is your turn to give a little bit this way.
I understand.
Well, I can sit with your IT staff and we can come up with the best solution. I mean, there is even technology now that instead of using a pair, you can use a single to do send and receive, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Okay, well, now we know what you're looking at, and we'll let Carlos do his thing and then report back to the board or the superintendent, of course, and see what effect or how it'll affect the district, not only today but in the future. Item H, joint city school parking.
It's parks.
I think we, yeah.
It's supposed to be
Parks, okay.
Yes. When I sent the email to Superintendent, all his fingers get crossed. It's parks. What I'd like to see about, you have elementary schools all through this community, and you have a lot of playground and open space in areas where we don't have. I think you do a good job in fencing them in and protecting them from vandals going in. But I think maybe we ought to try. We start off with 2. I think I'd like either do E-Garza or the ones that are on Sugarcane and Westgate to do ones because we don't have area there. And we'd have to pay for the fencing, but the gates would be when school is out, they unlock the gates, and then either we would do it for parks to go and lock it at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And then it'd be open on the weekends for people to play. And I think the one that you have a real nice playground on Harlem Block Park, and you as you're walking on the trail, there's a gate there so that you could go in and play in the playground with a lot. And for those who talk about running, I think running on asphalt is great compared to running on concrete, by the way. So, but I mean, this is last year I was running, and there was 2 little girls on there. They were telling their mom, "How come we can't go and play in those swings?" And as I'm running by, of course, I'm a nobody. I'm just running. Don't ask me. But that stuck in my mind. I think if we could do 2, where we cover the liability, and if we have to open and close it, fine. If you want to close them. I know that principals are real concerned about security, so they probably want to have.
Well, I think the school you're talking about might be Memorial, right?
Memorial, yes.
Memorial,
Yes.
and we have that playground on that
Let's pave it.
backside of the fence.
University gates don't usually close till 45 anyway.
Custodians are there until
They
10.
close them at 49, 9 o'clock.
And I think the concern that I think the school has is that if someone is in a swing and falls and hurt themselves after 5, they'll be responsible. So we can work out we can take our insurance policy and cover it from.
And maintenance and replacement.
Well, we'll help with the maintenance and the replacement, not all of it, but we can help.
Sure.
I think, once again, those are playground equipment that's being paid by the public. And so when they only can use them between whatever it is, 7:45 until 2:45 or 3:45, I think if you allow it to be open later, I think that would be good for the entire community. So I'm just saying, if it's okay, I'd like to, and those are the 2 I'm picking. It doesn't matter, I think.
Wait, it was Kleckler
Kleckler
and Memorial. Okay.
And the reason those are, Kleckler held those, chosen was, there's not a park in that side of town.
Right.
Right.
So it would benefit many that are in that area. It is closer to the street. I haven't walked it myself, but visually seeing from the street, there's a way to enclose it where they're not roaming all the exterior backside of the school.
Right.
It kind of contains it to the street of that. And the other one at Harlem Block, our parks have come a long way, but we don't have the handicap that's the little shaded area that has the bigger. So those little added features could benefit our citizens as well. So it's not, I mean, yeah, you say, well, there's a playground right there and there's a playground on the inside, but that little area is really what we're looking at. And just try to get that open to the public a little more. we don't have it right now. Is it in the plans to add? Yes, it is. But like anything else, we're not there yet. And that's why that's why that one was chosen. It's not that the two playgrounds one's not better than the other one. It's just that if we don't have that feature.
Currently, there's other cities that do that, fair up like that,
Yes,
right?
quite a few. Quite a few. So I would suggest, my suggestion would be to have the superintendent kind of outline what she thinks she would like to have to provide the protection for the school district. And then we take a look at it and see how close we can get to that. And then once we get to a point, then we can put it on both bodies for consideration under the one.
Can you get us a copy of the agreement between McAllen and McAllen ISD?
Sure, can.
That way, we can have Ivan and our superintendent start looking at it.
Well, that one it's going to be much more generous because we also put holes in their playgrounds, just like we did that, but they put huge holes on. And so we did this. McAllen ended up actually taking care of the school grounds. I don't know if any of you remember how McAllen's school grounds looked, but they weren't maintaining them. So the city went in there and they actually mowed the grass and they take care of the whole thing.
Well, thank you.
No, we got a whole lot back, and that was part of what we had to do is, they have two elementaries, Jackson Elementary and McCullough. And McCullough it's a 50 or 60 acre RDF. And they were okay with this one. We'll get you the copy so you can take a look at it and we'll go from there. I'll get it for you.
Yeah, you have a deep detention on that one.
Yeah, it's
about 12 feet, 10 feet.
It's deep.
But it drains.
It works.
It drains.
It drains.
It works.
It works.
There was
Mr. Perez, I can also, I'd like to ask Mr. Arce to talk a little bit about what Weslaco High School has done to help by adopting a park so that more of our schools can do that, because we do have, our students and one of our faculty who has been spearheading it has made a big difference in one area, one park, and we have so many other parks and we have so many schools that we can participate. David, if you'll talk a little bit about
And the cleanup also, don't forget, if it wasn't for the students from Weslaco ISD, we couldn't do the cleanups that we do.
Right, the citywide cleanups?
Yes.
Right.
About 85% of the people who show up to clean up neighborhoods come from the district.
Yeah, we have Ms. Martin and Evelia Castillo with the A&M. Adopted the park, I think this is year 2, but we're a year and a half in, and the students that go out there and they really do the little stuff that we wouldn't do on a daily basis. So they go on there and actually the rubber mulch, they kind of dig through it and make sure there's no glass or bottles or caps or whatever. They pick up sticks and all kinds of stuff. So the program has come a long way. I think we've put in like 80,000 into Gibson, and I'm sure most of you have noticed it. New swing
and it's
sets
cost the district zero.
Yeah, it's been a great benefit. I mean, it looks way better. The resurfacing the basketball courts, the new playground, the trail, the mural that the students did. I mean, it's been great. So I know we're coming together. We're working together already, and this is not the first step. It's just a continuation.
Would it be, Mr. Perez, jungle gyms only or including the pavilions?
It all depends on how the area that we can kind of cut off so we provide still protection to the school. So if we can include it, we can, and if we don't.
I was going to say on Memorial, there is a gate right there with the Harlem block, and they gave it up where they can't get to the pavilion or to any of the parking lots. It would just be pretty much the playground area. You could still get, look at the windows of the school. You're going to have some of the school exposed, but it's a limited area.
Well, the only reason I'm saying, since y'all did that blue paint on the park, maybe doing the blue paints at those pavilions where the kids wouldn't slip and fall and cut the liability down. as far as opening it up, because no one's gonna be there to monitor them. Unless you get a call, but maybe working together. Yeah, resurfacing the pavilion with that dry stuff or whatever, just to minimize the falls, might be a good idea. Obviously, there's nothing on the north side. If your plan is to do that one on the east side of Texas, maybe this is your north side west of the city, and so you kind of target both communities on the north side. But maybe, again, that's for y'all to discuss, get with the principals of the campuses that are in question, and, you know.
Dr. Canales, I guess going forward, you could get with your principals and get their input on concerns or pros and cons. And then as far as the city, you guys could give us a list of what areas, what schools, what playgrounds you're talking about. I feel that those pavilions could be very useful to the community. Yep. Very useful to the community. You know, being that we have this heat down here in South Texas. And before the fencing occurred on some of the school grounds, the community would use them almost every day, every evening. If not for quinceañeras or no, I'm serious. You would see them practicing their dance out there on
2 or 3 of them.
yeah.
And now most of my vandals are pedestrians, so they climb if they need to. Well, they hate the marquee. That's usually a safe. But you know, the opening the gates, maybe I'm fine with that. Maybe to help out and maybe the PD could maybe drive through every once in a while.
Plus, they can use them for basketball and all that.
It's basketball. It's a lot of times basketball courts that they want.
Yeah.
You know, depending on what sport is in season or coming up, that's what we play t-ball.
Yeah, they use them for that.
Soccer team.
Coach Barasa had a good one. You could use B Garza field for what did you call it, splash pad or something?
Sorry about that.
Sorry, I love it. It's not
Only when it rains, slip and slide.
Well, it's because y'all mentioned using B Garza, and I go, I guess that'd be our splash pad.
I don't want to slip and slide because there's a lot of clay.
Okay.
On the parks, I don't know it's far-fetched. I mean, what I like to see, and I don't think we can, but it's something to brainstorm. We talked about it at that triangle about a year or two ago on it. You know, the city park, Mayor Pablo G. Pena Park is congested. There's no parking. Come up with a new law or something to where first gotta, do the study in the traffic control. If we can do a crosswalk from Airport Elementary to the park and have overflow parking there only after hours, for school hours, and we won't use the park when they have open house, etc. You don't use that parking lot after school that much, and when you do, we need to block it off, but to have the overflow park there, and we just need to negotiate that street and maybe do a crosswalk like we have there on A Street and that medical center. That way you park over there and then walk over. So we can use the park.
Are you talking about Airport Elementary?
Airport Elementary, and it's adjacent to, it's across.
It's a big parking lot.
Yeah.
It's a big parking lot.
If we can look into that, that would be good.
You're talking about 3 or 4 times a year?
That you all use it, yeah.
That you would need to use it?
No.
He's talking about daily.
He's
talking about daily.
Leave it open.
El overflow, the parking, cuando están haciendo T-ball practice.
Oh, okay. Is it that bad?
Yeah. See, but we can use the parking lot in the escuela, I think we need to look at that in the crosswalk.
Yeah, especially around the springtime, come March, you got softball kicking off, you got soccer going on, and then practicing everywhere. Boys and Girls Club doing their thing. I mean, it's just, there's the runners, I mean, it's a lot. We only have like, what, 277
I'm going to play devil's advocate here, but how can we ensure the security of the school, though, if we're using the whole parking lot?
We have to take a look at fencing. We may have to look at fencing, at putting a fence that kind of ties it in so that it protects the school. They can park in the parking lot.
That would be my only concern there.
Yeah, so we would have to take a look at it. That's what you're right, we have to take a look at it.
I know the school's enclosed, I mean, it's, you know,
But they
gate, but,
include the parking lot, so we'd have to take, move that fence.
right.
And it might not be a fence, because I'm recalling that school, it could be something having to do with protecting the windows and protecting the doors. Because the fence would, you know, take it into consideration how close it is to the ground.
Exactly.
I don't think it would be feasible. I think the protection, I know those walls are concrete, so they're not gonna be able to get in through the walls, but.
What time do our custodials leave? About 9 o'clock, right? Everyone leaves our campuses about 9?
9 o'clock.
8 or 9? So, I mean, I know they stay at the park, maybe past 9, maybe.
How about a
just little
security
bit.
guard? I know there's security guards that kind of make rounds around campuses. Maybe one that would maybe frequent that area a little bit more, just, even if they just kind of, their presence would be a big enough of a deterrent, you know?
I think jointly with
Wesco PD.
with our security and Wesco PD,
we could.
Just patrol it a little more often.
Yeah. And lighting.
Lighting,
Lighting.
correct, yeah.
There's already a gate right by the beach here, right? On the north side of the property of the park. There's a slide gate, right? You know, maybe doing a crosswalk where that gate is.
There's already a fence open already.
Well, we'll look at it and we'll let the principal know what the thoughts are and see what her input is on that school. Is that the only one you're talking about, or which other one?
No, that's the one, no, that's the one.
That's the one for right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I threw in that to look at that crosswalk, that way it's, you know, if you don't do
So
something.
airport, Klecker, and Memorial? The parking at airport, the playgrounds at Memorial, Klecker, and maybe the pavilion at B. Garza?
Yeah. Okay. Item I, discussion on Class C misdemeanor for students.
I think we kind of covered that, and when we take a look at the police, and they'll end up meeting between our police chief.
Okay, so it's already been covered?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Item J, CTE Literacy Cafe. Who wants to talk about that?
This is something we're really excited about with the city library. And so Ms. Avila and Ms. Calvillo and Tiarina have been working on this with our city librarian, and we'd like to present it and get direction to continue moving forward with it.
With the, well, there's been a committee, like Dr. Bernal said, Carlos, Weslaco, Elma, Americo, Melba, our culinary teacher, and myself, to attract more students with the initiative for literacy. Dr. Canales came up with how can we get more students and how can we get the community more involved in literacy. She said, well, what better way in attracting them to go to the library? Maybe we can have a cafe there. So she thought of the idea of having a Lit for Literacy cafe, and we'll have Melba use our practicum students for culinary to come in, use the library as a training station, as a training sponsor where the kids can go and kind of compete with Starbucks. You always see the lines there. The kids want frappuccinos and coffees and pastries and sandwiches and cookies, what have you. They'll do it and come man it. But the kids only go to that practicum class on the B days right now, so there's a lot of things that need to be ironed out as to the hours. So that's
B
what we
days
have.
are what, Tuesday and Thursday?
No, they alternate.
It's in the morning, we would have it. So we haven't presented it to our board. I understand that Mr. Beto came up with an MOU that I think was presented to the city.
Yeah, there was an interlocal that was passed by the city commission in early December. So we're ready to move forward with it.
I'm sorry, yes, and we met with Mr. Beto and he found a place for us there. Ms. Melba has already designed the kitchen. Right, and we haven't had Mr. Bettis look at the MOU yet. We were kind of waiting to finalize everything to present it to him.
Mr. Bettis, you have access to the MOU, correct?
Yeah.
No, but we're talking about,
On the city standpoint?
yes,
No, our
Mr. Bettis. Our attorney, yes.
The MOU.
Yeah, we're gonna have the lights.
But you,
We kind of wanted to include more information on it
December,
before we
okay.
presented it. We're still trying to iron out some of the details, as far as like the electrical, the plumbing. I know Americo was concerned about our maintenance department doing it. I think he wanted to meet with the city maintenance people for the sink and the drainage, and the electrical.
Just the details. If approved, then we'll have to put
There is plumbing right next to the location, so we would have some plumbing access in that location.
What is the cost to the school district?
Well, we purchased a couple of items already, like a refrigerator, an ice maker, we've got the coffee brewer. I know we want to get a blending machine for the frappuccinos and kind of like a register, a safe. Cabinet work, of course.
Where is this going to be?
At the city library.
At the city library.
So.
And what are the hours, more or less, or what are you thinking of what's going to be the hours of operation?
Well, that's what she was, right now, it's their B period class.
The city's already passed it.
Right now, it's their B period class, and they're only going
hasn't come back.
every other day.
Find a sponsor.
So you have a más o menos?
And then, yeah.
Más o menos about 20,000
To get going.
to get those.
So
Yes.
we've already.
For everything, the plumbing, the cabinetry, and all
Oh, that's what we need Americo for.
That's it.
That work orders have been already submitted for them to do the counters
system.
and pantries and menu
Work
boards.
orders,
and
nothing else.
A lot of work
60.
orders right
About
now.
60.
But they need to estimate the cost on what we've submitted for the designs already.
We did a lot of research on this, of course, trying to figure out competition, of course. A good site for us to be able to be seen throughout the community, and we just felt that this was a good area. Mercedes Public Library does have one, which we compared to, and they were very nice to basically give us all the secrets. So from there, we've kind of taken the initiative to try to figure this out. This is a new project, of course, for the district, and of course for the students to take that initiative and then run with it. And just like Mrs. Agna said, this is it's going to be more of a training site.
This is more for our students to get that.
Practica.
Exactly.
Practica.
The work-based
learning.
component.
So I will train, and then we place them in the cafe.
So you're gonna go by the little water fountain on that side?
Yes. Inside the library. It's in the back.
In the back.
Inside the library?
Inside the library.
We're trying to attract more.
So it's gonna smell better.
Yeah.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah.
Smell better.
Let me make sure that's in there.
What are you saying, dude? We fixed the roof already.
No love.
Ya no se cortea, you don't take no more.
Oh, Carlos.
So then this design needs to come to our board meeting.
Huh?
The design is, do we have money?
Well, we're also going to generate money, so we
I
need
understand
to
we're generate,
we need to look at
but
how
he's
much
gonna
we
say
generate
yes or no, we don't have
one
it.
time, and we're going to use, yeah.
We're going to use both.
Was there any
CT
thought
finance
of doing them at, like, the two high schools, some stations at the high school as an
We have-
experiment, or?
We have, but I think we wanted to right now get the community involved. So
And I also think then we have to be a little bit more careful with the federal guidelines for food services, because since we get free and reduced so much money from the feds, it would be, put a lot more restrictions.
Oh, yeah.
But I wonder if we do it like in the library.
Bring your own sugar.
Away from the cafeteria.
Bring your own sugar.
Regardless.
If we do it in high school,
I
it's bring
think,
your
I
own.
think, I think the rules are anywhere on the campus, you can't compete.
Also look at that option.
The library.
You can go skim, get a skinny frappuccino.
There are a couple of other school districts that try.
Yeah, I've seen some other schools.
They're not free and reduced, right somewhere else.
But we first wanted to start at the library, I believe. The direction we were given to start.
Will there be a sitting area for customers in the,
Yes.
how many tables or?
Sofa.
They have a little bit.
Yeah, I think that you all will probably fit, maybe 20, about 20 individuals in the sitting area. maybe more.
With what you have right now.
Yeah.
Now, will they be allowed to buy a cappuccino or a frappe or whatever you call that stuff? And go sit somewhere in the library and indulge?
Yeah.
How much
we
traffic?
We allow drinks with
With a lid?
Container, something with a lid, something with a cap. Food, we would probably try to keep food to that area. And to maybe our study room and our boardroom areas, places where, the youth won't make a significant amount of mess.
Yeah, of course.
And I know Alma was going to coordinate with Mr. Betchel on having different activities, so again, attract more students.
Oh, like read alouds, can read your poetry,
Yes,
poetry.
Mr. Richard and staff already have great programming in place, but of course you want to bring in great WISD programming.
And WISD already comes in and
Yes.
does a lot of programming with us already. So there's a very healthy relationship there that we could build on.
The traffic flow is very good.
Well, that was my question. What's your traffic flow?
We get about 1,000 individuals through the library per day, on average, that each day that we're open.
Per day?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So we're going to compete with Starbucks.
Kind of topic, but I know you're saying that, we work together closely when it comes to the library. A few months back, did we not gain access to something like 30,000, 40,000 ebooks or something along those lines?
Yeah, that was a partnership with the county, where they provided about $500,000 to create an electronic library for all the citizens of Hidalgo County, including every single one of y'all students. So that is available through our library right now. We'd love for y'all to come in and create an account so that we can provide access to each of your students. Elma and myself have been talking about getting the word out regarding that program to your students also. I think that your students will be seeing something like that, but yes, please feel that the invite is open to come to our library, open an account, and get yourself access to electronic books.
Yeah, that was my next question. How could we do it to have the campuses tap into that from, say, the respective campus, as opposed to, I guess right now, having an account and...
Yeah, instead of having them come in, well, individuals can always call in and register over the phone. If y'all are looking to create accounts for students, maybe in an automated process way, I think the best way would probably have the librarians from the campuses contact me, who can go ahead and start figuring that out.
Maybe that's what we can do with 5.
That's right.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
So when's it open?
We don't have an exact date yet.
If it was up to Dr. Canales, it would have been in November.
Yes. She would, like that.
Will y'all deliver? I'm not a coffee drinker, but...
So the next step would be, the next step would be for us to take a look at the MOU that the city has already approved.
Okay.
Have our attorney look over it, see if we can add or take out anything.
Okay.
And move forward from there.
Have you gotten it, Ivan?
We're talking about that right now.
Okay.
And I put anything else about the plumbing and the wiring?
Any further comments on that one? On the cafe?
Students are excited about it.
Well, good. Good.
And do both high schools have the culinary? Or they
Yes,
just-
their students both represented from East and High.
Oh, so do they get like certified, what do they call baristas?
Baristas?
Do they?
Well, we did contact Starbucks, but they say it takes a while for them to come back and they do the training. But the thing is, I think that we need to purchase all the products from them. So we're working on that still too. It just takes a while, they say, for them to come back, to partner with them as well. And then we use their logos and stuff like that too.
Cool. But they're gonna want to cut.
Starbucks card.
Okay. Let's move on to the next item. The Weslaco High School swimming pool renovation.
That's just to review where we've been with that, and the last cost and all that. It's something that we talk about it, we dream about, but we don't know if it ever.
For some reason, I found the expensive project.
Todos los caros.
You don't want to hear this one.
I was asked to look at renovating the city. The city has been shut down for a number of years now. I think we could all benefit from the city being renovated. And so I did look at an estimated cost to renovating the pool, pump room, plumbing system, everything. It's got showers, it's got or men's and women's bathrooms and changing facilities, and also looked at putting potentially a roof over it to kind of help with the chemical balancing of the waters. Looking at a budget of about $2.5 million.
Next slide.
I was off by millions.
So,
We can put a down payment on that. Where will this be at?
this is at Weslaco High School.
The old swimming.
The old original.
Yeah.
It is an 8-lane competitive pool with swimming and with diving, of course, involved as well. But I know that at our facility, we do get a lot of requests from Border Patrol, from state troopers, from all different types of agencies that are water training or wanting to pass some kind of water certification. And of course, we work with them and we allow them to get it. So over the summer, we service roughly around 12 to 1,500 kids throughout the summer at our wing for our 6-week program that we do. And I think there's probably more that we want to participate, but we have to have input because of the site.
When was the last study that we had on the structural integrity of the pool itself?
So that was about 18 years ago.
Okay, I think before we even start throwing this up in the air, we as a district need to spend some money on an engineer that'll go out there and tell us whether that integrity on that structure itself is still solid and or not. Maybe it's something we just need to break and do away with.
I do have a price to just
Demolish?
cover it back.
Let's not go there yet. Because in reality, I think that swimming pool would be a great asset to the whole community, to this high school, and to everybody.
The interest in swimming just with our second grade program.
We launched the second grade Learn Swim Academy this year, and it has just been a huge success for the kids. I mean, some of the kids, a lot of reservations being in the water. Parents know they're in the water, and by the end of the second week, the kids are actually swimming. And it's a real neat thing to see these kids able to tread water, swim on their own.
Dr. Canales, would you see, I know we have several architects that are already on contract, and see which one of those firms would be willing to just do a study, or really ask all of them which one would like to do a study and give you an estimate of what would it be to review the structural integrity of the pool itself.
Mo, can we go after somebody who's a consultant, so that we can get it right first time? Yeah, like a pool consultant, yeah, it just does that.
Yeah?
We did that with
Is that what we did at your school?
the auditorium, we did
So maybe let's utilize the consultant that we had before, instead of going to these architects that maybe,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not part of their scope, but
Well,
They'll have
if
to
you're
hire
gonna have a
somebody.
building or other amenities, I mean, it makes sense to hire an architect and then he'll bring a
Yeah.
consultant with to his team, provide the whole services, but if it's just gonna be the pool by itself, that's what we're talking about, right? Or is it gonna have restrooms and,
it has restrooms and everything.
it already has it?
I think the 2.5 includes a structure, building over it.
Yes, sir.
See, it-
Or building over it.
or building
It can be
over it,
closed.
or enclosing it,
It's just gonna be a roof.
yeah.
like a pavilion.
Like a pavilion type thing.
Covering the entire pool. I know those structures are very expensive because they need to be made out of aluminum.
No, this is concrete.
Oh, it's a concrete structure.
It's a concrete structure.
The top.
Oh, you're talking about the top?
Yeah, the top.
Yeah, the top would be, probably a galvanized structure,
The ones we've done, okay.
or whatever else.
Didn't we used to have also, I'm trying to think, this was a long time ago.
A what?
A long time ago, like 20 years ago, didn't we also have Boys and Girls Club kids go and take swimming lessons?
It was open to some,
Yeah,
summer.
That was our.
I know the Border Patrol used to train their divers there.
But I'm thinking, like, our students, our kids.
No, they
like,
did.
You could do so much.
We used to walk them over when I worked
It's
at
a
the Boys Club.
life-saving
Ahí está el
skill.
gancho. You're in.
Get it fiber optic.
1.25 mil.
Just to let you know, I'm known as the city manager who closed pools. Because they're very expensive, to maintain and operate.
How many pools does the city own?
None.
We only have one, a small one,
The one at Gibson Park?
the one at Gibson Park.
That's it.
That's it. And so when you start looking at cost of operating and bang for your buck, that's why we're doing splash pads. And pools are just very, very expensive. You've got 1,200 kids that use it in the summer. You take a look at that. I know you have a swimming program, but you take 1,200 kids and you divide it into 2.5. That's a lot of money per child. I'm just saying. The mayor and the commission know me. With me, everything's an ROI.
But maybe there's
Swimming
ways of
pools,
bringing-
ROI is,
maybe there's ways
it's
of
real
bringing
hard.
that down.
I'm not saying it's not a needed element in the community, but I'm just saying, maybe you need to take a look at taking out the canopy and just taking a look at the basic guts. If the structure is still in good shape, then I think you need to take a look at the pumps and the filters and the piping and make sure that's okay and what that cost is. The other thing is I would suggest is take a look at what's your worst element on there. And if it's the filters, then you replace the filters this year, and if it's $100,000, then you wait another year and a half, and then you replace the pumps. And you just do it. It's like anything else. When we let things go for a long time, had we fixed it earlier, and I'm a fine one to talk because we've done a terrible job in the city of maintaining it. We had a library roof that was leaking for years, and probably would have cost us $40,000 to fix it, and it cost us $400,000 to fix it. And so I'm just saying, if you have issues with the filters, then fix that this year. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying we can help, at this point, other than I'm real good because I'm sitting on the stands, and you guys are in the field, and I'm telling you how to play. But I don't know. Maybe the commission would say, if it's, they might throw a little.
We like to look at a pool. Maybe we can't afford 1.25 million, but we can afford something. We'll look at it and hold on to it. That's the purpose of this workshop, is to see. But we need to do something to try to do. But I don't think the splash pads are fine, and we're spending money on that, but that does not.
No, it's not the pool.
It does not take the place. It replaces the pool.
Yeah, I think.
We don't need, after all, we get to a town with 300 burgers and we don't have a pool.
And I heard there was another one coming in.
Touche, Mayor, touche. And based on that, they're my bosses. Take a look at it. Let's do a plan. Let's do a 5-year plan to fix it up, and let's see what it would cost us. But I need to have it by May.
Yes, sir. I know that, just by being involved in some little meetings that are going in, at this point, the biggest problem that we faced at the beginning was the gutter system was not not cooperative with the drainage system. So that was creating water to go in between the concrete and the actual shell, the liner. So that was creating algae, is creating a mess. So we had to overshot the pool so that the water would seep down into between the concrete and the liner. So what happened was you couldn't swim in water because you were turning green because it was too high. The water level was too high. Liner is to turn green was your area. So we had to wait a couple of days for that, right, for the water to go down and stabilize.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't want to get into the weeds. I think from the standpoint, this is like a 25-foot level looking at. I think what you need to do is you can get with David and then figure out what are the top things that need to get fixed in the pool. If that's one of the things and what that cost is going to be, and it's going to go back to what Commissioner Leo was saying, and I think Andrew was saying, is how do we, what needs to be done, and you need to hire that professional saying, here's the thing that needs to be done. The first thing you need to do is fix the lining, fix the filters, fix the pump, and then develop a plan to try to fix that in like 3 to 5 years. And then let's start attacking it. And the mayor's already said right now that I can't step away from this, so figure out how we can partner with you to help you get that done, but maybe we need to figure out how do we make it a little bit more accessible to the general public.
I think for me, the educator side and the PE side with obesity, the diabetes and all of those things, we looked at a track, and obviously we said no to the track already, y'all did. We have the pool. Y'all have no pool. Let's create the 3 to 5 year plan. What do we need now, and how fast do we need it? I think the community as a whole, at least me in part, would say we need a pool. I walk to one pool and I walk to the other pool. So it is what it is. I walk, so I used to be skinny. We don't walk anymore. But, different philosophies, obviously, but maybe finding out from the pool consultant and finding out what is truly more important to us. But I'm sorry? The one y'all are tearing down? And then I used to walk to the high school. Well, I walked to the old Harlem Block Park, and I walked to the high school.
And I just want to let everybody know about pools. I don't like street lights either, and I don't like curb and gutter, but I still have to do that because that's what the commission tells me. So if they like pools, then my issues like to work.
Yeah, well, again, going back to.
We got to sit at Pat.
From a parent standpoint, between the time that the Weslaco High School pool closed and the natatorium opened, there was a whole generation of kids in Weslaco that did not learn how to swim. Because I can tell you that probably 4 or 5 years of my life was spent at that pool, and we took continuous swim lessons the entire summer. And there was a definite drop-off of the number of kids that can swim, and it's just remarkable the number of kids in our community that cannot swim.
Not only that, it's an outlet for individuals, especially during summertime, when they're lounging around right now, what do they call this, their pocket Jesus? Their faces are buried in this, and if we can maybe get them off of this, and like you said, get them out there and swim and
they'll have waterproof,
do a little exercise.
Everybody should know how to swim.
Well, moving forward, again, this could be something like that track. Maybe you can find some grants for us. You can help us find some money somewhere. Maybe the federal money for allowing the Border Patrol to train or something like that, a joint venture with city and school trying to.
Does the district have a grant writer by any chance?
We do. It's assigned to somebody who oversees the grants, but it's a process that we're working on streamlining and making more doable.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll work on that this spring for next year. That involves, like the person who's a lead with the assistance of somebody who knows how to write grants.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Next one.
I do feel the pool's important though, also like the mayor. And I'll finish it up real quick, okay? Oscar, make sure that we grab this and let's make it a plan.
Just wanted to also mention and thank you all for inviting us for this, to this meeting. I do remember that this item was in one of our items at the Commissioner's Court. And, you know, I said, you know, it's very important for us to go out there and actually have a workshop. So I thank you guys, everybody, the commission as well, and the school board for allowing us to get together. The other thing is that, to answer back to, you said that this is the first time you've seen this, where we all get together. This is my second time. That's to come. I do hope that we do come back and actually, you know, get together in about a quarter's time, and quarterly, and see if we can, you know, do some of the, or continue moving forward with what we just talked about. With that being said, thank you guys.
One last thing, can we alternate, or is there a reason why we can wait to have it here at the school district?
We can fill it. I can provide whatever y'all want.
Okay. So, we'll have is it okay if we take a picture of everybody? I mean, we seldom we take pictures of them.
Aquí está fine.
Yeah.
All the pictures you want, but
Leo, we can have a culinary students.
That's right. Come and do it.
Whatever y'all want, I'll just
keep it in.
That's fine. I think it's a good idea.
I like the tape.
When are you gonna get Dennis transmitters? You gotta look for the 12.
Okay. Well, thank you again. I want to thank everybody in this room. Everybody in this room, our staff, well, sitting in the back, and everybody that's here, all the city staff, and thank you for being here tonight and you know, listening to all the ideas being thrown back and forth and the discussions being had. We can only get stronger, we can get better, and move forward.
Look forward to moving forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
all over here on this side.